Good morning, afternoon, and evening, everyone. Welcome to the Midfielders and Forwards pod of the FPL Wire. I'm your host, Zofar, and I'm joined finally today by my co-hosts, Prus and Late Riser. How was Iceland, Prus?
Iceland was amazing, man. 5 days of driving around the country and cold. It's not my kind of summer holiday going into cold and wearing your jackets again, but it's a beautiful country. Like at times when you're driving there, it feels like you're in Mars or the moon because, there's volcanic rocks everywhere and it was amazing. So I got a shout out from three people who are Iceland based who reached out, wanted to help. So that was great. So thank you. And happy to be back in some capacity. I'm not back in London, but at least back podding and back FPLing.
What about you, LR? The guns are covered. I'd expect they'd be all bloated from the tinkering now.
No, man. There's a lot more tinkering left before you let them out at the moment. Plus, man, kudos to you for doing Iceland. You did the trip with 2 kids, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and it was all driving. So you have to. I drove around 1,200 kilometers in the 4 days that we were there. So you
Did
can
that
do
prove
the
to be a
whole
challenge?
country. No,
With
not
kids?
really. I love to drive. Not really. Like kids are
No,
of the age
for the
you can put
kids,
their plate.
Kids
they're
are
okay.
older also now.
Travel.
Right?
Yeah, nine and six are fine. Like they're happy in the car. They can trek if you want. Of course, you can't do everything. Like we couldn't do ice caves and stuff, but you can do the glaciers, you can do the hikes, you can do a lot of the waterfalls. So it's great. Highly recommended. Very expensive, so be prepared. Whoever's traveling there, but highly recommended.
So great 5-6 hour long drives, just thinking about whether you want to go for Thiago, Fulkrug, or Strand Larsen. That was basically the agenda of the trip, right?
Dude, as we will come to it, confirming to myself that Bruno Fernandes has to be in. Basically, that was it.
Nice. So how about you, Zoff? How's the last 2 or 3 days been? I enjoyed the pod we did on Tuesday, freestyle pod after a while. Any major changes in your team after that?
Just money from defense keeps going out. Prus was talking before we came on about Bruno. Now I'm thinking about getting Bruno in. At this rate, I'm going to be loaded with like 5 4.0 defenders, I think.
I'm going to change your mind on this podcast and bring you guys back to big at the back. This cannot change.
We were having a nice tinker when you were away on Tuesday as well.
I got a lot of tags on X that look what these guys are doing. They've taken money out of defense. So I know what you've been up to.
Right. Before we get into the swing of things, I just want to say at the top, thanks for all the love that you guys have showed us during preseason. We're only 1,200 subscribers away from our 40,000 subscriber goal before the start of Game Week 1. So we've got 7 days to hit 1,200 more subscribers. If you already subscribed and you're a long-time listener, just take your family member's phone or girlfriend's phone and subscribe on the FPL Wire. It really helps us out, and hit the like button because it helps us with the algo as well. We've got a lot more content coming, by the way. I think this is going to be a 2-hour pod easy, in my opinion. On Sunday, we have Baker's draft as well as some Spurs chat. On Monday, my favorite guest in the preseason, Josh Williams from the Anfield Rap. Tuesday, we have our Game Week 1 pod. And between Wednesday and Thursday, the three of us will do our individual Game Week 1 team selection videos as well. So there's content pretty much coming every day. So hit the notification button, keep the like and subscribe button. Keep the likes and subscribes coming, and let's get into the sponsor plugs off.
Fantastic. Scout first up.
This is a very important one because in about 7 or 8 hours, Scout's very generous deal of having 47% off on the membership ends. You've seen the data on our channel throughout preseason and for the last 5 years as well. I think they've done an unparalleled job in terms of the data that they've cited for defensive contributions, percentage, DC points, etc. And now they've got the king of DC points, Tom Hadley, doing members articles for them as well. So make sure you're signing up, and if you are signing up, help us out because we're affiliated, and either scan this QR code or click on the link in the description below. If you're listening in the car or watching on your TV, don't just sign in and become a member. Click on this code and become a member.
We appreciate your
support. And do it quickly.
Guys. Right. And as you guys know, NordVPN has been a long-term partner of the FPL Wire. If you're bored of the streaming libraries in your country, with NordVPN, you can access content outside your region, get access to a wider library on your favorite streaming services, and if you're traveling outside your country, you can access your home library content. Every purchase of the 2-year NordVPN plan using the link nordvpn.com/FPLWire will receive an additional 4 bonus months on top. TV show recommendations, guys. Any TV being watched, or is it just YouTube videos,
I've not
FPL
watched
stuff?
any. I think DevQ was the last show I watched, which was amazing. But this is now, I think, going back 3 weeks. So you guys have to be more recently updated, I guess.
Nothing at the moment, man. It's all FPL content, reading FPL stuff. Not much else. The only show that I finished yesterday was Building the Band. Like I said, if you want to just give a break to your brain and watch some light stuff, then that's a pretty decent binge watchy, no frills, don't think about what's happening show on Netflix.
I've been keeping it lighter. South Park, Sunny and Philly, the new episodes out. Always fun to watch. Dexter's decent, and finally there's a decent game to play. Mafia Old Country just dropped on PS5 and PC today, so really looking forward to that. And we have to give a shout out to content I've been watching a lot to Planet FPL. The Clash of the Correspondents they've actually been doing. So anyone who doesn't know, they interview fans from each of the 20 clubs to get their perspective on the club's prospects on the football side as well as FPL. So a lot of us are pressed for time, and we have to thank Kesavan and a lot of the other guys in the Discord who have actually been summarizing these for us. So thanks a lot to you guys in the Discord for that as well. Now, getting back to Nod, Nod also has an efficient anti-malware and anti-spyware protection tool. It highlights any attack and deletes it before it makes a mess of your computer. Grab your exclusive NordVPN deal by going to nordvpn.com/FPL Wire. It's completely risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. Sign up using the link in the description below. Right, boys, this is the big one. Where should we start? So we'll do it by price bracket. I think that's the best way to go about it.
Yep. Price packet, mids first.
Cool. We'll just have this data up. This is the team XG. Obviously, Liverpool are out on top by about 10 non-pen XG. A big margin with Man City, Chelsea, Newcastle, Arsenal, Bournemouth, Palace following. So first
Right, so I think, when it comes to the premiums, we know the 9 million or above guys. So we'll discuss them. And I think Haaland deserves discussion in this bracket while we're discussing the premiums as well, because it's always a decision of Salah or Haaland or Salah or Haaland or both, all of that situation. So, Zoff and I freshly discussed the premiums on Tuesday. Where are you at with the premiums at the moment, Pras?
I think it's on captaincy. The premiums come down to captaincy and your free hit window, right? I think it's Salah is just a hygiene pick. Like, I don't want to call him, he can match last year's points or whatever, but he's a hygiene pick because he's in the first 5 game weeks, he's the best captain in the on 3 of them. So if you remove game week 2 and game week 3, so then it becomes a case of, can you go Salah less or not, or do you go Haaland instead? You can go Haaland, but people are a little bit burnt, right? So we can't genuinely give this recommendation that if you wanted to swerve Salah, go Haaland instead. I'm just not feeling it. Like, Liverpool look on fire. They've made great signings. They should score more goals than last year. There's no reason to say that you'll go against Salah. Now, if your sole objective is to win FPL and nothing else, and you don't mind finishing in the top 5 million, yeah, go without Salah and go Haaland and captain Haaland instead. Maybe this time out, the variance flips the other way and Haaland is scoring hat-tricks and Salah blanks. But from a sensible basis, I don't think, going against Salah works personally. And both is not really an option this year with 14 and 14.5 million type pricing. I don't think both is an option. So first question to answer your question is, Salah better than Haaland, better than both, better than neither. Then the question is, if you're going for one Salah, who else adds on top? And again, it comes down to captaincy. If you look at captaincy, game week 2, game week 3, the 2 weeks where Salah isn't the best captain, probably Palmer is a good shout. We haven't come to Bruno yet, but Palmer is the other shout that pairs well with Salah. And this goes until game week 12, by the way. So you don't actually need to touch those premiums. You could go to a Saka later, but the template is there. Salah and Palmer are basically the natural top 2, at least in my mind.
But tell me, Pras, why can't you go Salah and Haaland? Because ultimately it's only 1 million more than last year, and you went with the 2 last season. What's different? What's different this year?
Well, I think the defenders, the 6 million defenders, are much more appealing. So again, big at the back for me. So now you're comparing Haaland to Palmer. So what you're saying is, where do you spend the 4 million? So I think there is more optionality in the defenders to put that money there. There are good midfielders who get CBIT points and attacking returns. You can spread the money a little bit more. And last but not least, fixtures. Last year, if you remember, there was a very nice dovetailing of Haaland Salah captaincy. Like, I was able to do Haaland captain 1 week, Salah captain 1 week, and that was the advantage of going both. if you're basically going to be captaining, regardless of this, Salah most weeks or Haaland most weeks, whichever one you pick, I don't think there's an opportunity where it dovetails as well. That's where I am.
I mean, I'll play devil's advocate. Let's say it's game week 1 is Salah's the better captaincy option compared to Haaland. I'll give you that. Game week 2 and 3, Haaland's a better captaincy option than Salah. So there is
But
a
not
case.
Palmer.
But not Palmer. But I'm just that's coming down to opinion and how fast we think they will start, etc., and whether Palmer gets over. So, but I'm just saying there's a case for Haaland Salah because at least in the first 3 weeks you can go Salah first week. Haaland's a great captaincy shout in the first week as well. And game week 2 and 3, Haaland's a perfectly fine captaincy shot. I mean, we saw how Spurs were, their players are dropping like flies in terms of injuries there, and it's new team, new system, etc. as well. So Bayern scored 4 goals against them last night as well. So no, Haaland's a decent captaincy option. Zoff and I were talking about it. I think because of the trauma of last season and generally us not seeing much of Manchester City, we're very conveniently ignoring them, including me at the moment. I tried playing around with the big man and getting him a Salah and Haaland draft, and it just required too many compromises at the moment. But if people want to go there, do it. It's difficult, and it's conveniently all right to go without him at the start of the season. Zoff mentioned, in the Ross video as well, and your article on Scout as well, that you're looking at the fixtures and convincing yourself that it's got Spurs, United, Arsenal. I can afford to go without Haaland, but just can't help the feeling that he's going to start strong.
Haaland can do well. I have no doubts about it, and he will do well. He probably will win the Golden Boot. But my point is, again, going back to why not both. Last year, remember, João Pedro was 5.5 million. Rodgers was 5.5 million. Smith Rowe was 5.5 million. Kluivert was 5.5. There were so many good options. They have not emerged yet. That, yes, you're paying $1 million more for the same combination, but also those budget enablers aren't there. Like, I'm already at Anderson level for one of my midfield slots and GUI level. Like, even not having Haaland and Salah. So I don't see why you would not save the additional 4 million and go for a Palmer instead.
I'm glad you're on board with the GUI pronunciations, Pras.
Is it GUI or GUI? I don't know. It's GUI, no?
On this pod, it's GUI.
Okay.
I'm just going to check out the pronunciation. We got the examples. But I'll just say for people that want to go for Haaland, go for it, because I think City are better suited to score more goals and supply to Haaland than they have been last year. And Pep is as a wounded tiger. Haaland is a wounded tiger. Like, I have him for 30 goals this year. And like, even if you're not starting with Haaland, make sure you're making plans to get him in game week 6. Because Burnley, Everton, Brentford in game week 6, 7, 8, you need to have plans to get a couple of City players in there, because I think they will be flying by that time. That's all. I'm not starting with Haaland as things stand either, but I'm not in the mood to talk anybody off, because I think it's a great opportunity. Like you said, if somebody wants to win FPL, I think it's a good opportunity.
Yeah. And game week 13, we'll have Haaland for sure.
Want Haaland, but I want Palmer a bit more. I think it just comes down to price. At 3.5 million, what can I do with it? And I think I can do more with it in other areas. That's pretty much it. I'm not saying that Haaland could easily outscore Salah. I'm not saying Haaland is a bad asset. I'm just saying the way I think points per million, I prefer Salah, but I'm ready to pivot if I need to be in the game week around, let's say game week 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever it is. I'm keeping an open mind about it. The thing is with Haaland, it's out of sight, out of mind. If he was playing in preseason, or let's say the last 2 preseason game, he'd been hitting 5 goals, I think this conversation would have been a bit different.
What if you see him score a brace and Palmer look leggy for 60 minutes this weekend? I'm open to the idea of being convinced, because I've played around with Haaland just so I know what I need to compromise and work with if I really want him badly. Are you open to Haaland?
I'm open to it. I've had a structure in mind to it, but I don't think I can go off just one friendly, man. Last year we had Salah. I think, remember in the last friendly before, he didn't get a goal or assist, and we were all, oh, Salah's too wide. Salah's too wide. When the music starts, these players start dancing. That's all it is.
All right. Fair.
Not feeling this year. Both I'm not feeling.
You're not feeling?
Having the
I'm not
double
feeling
up, Salah
good.
and Haaland.
Yeah.
Like, if Palmer looks terrible or injured, I'll go Saka, I'll go Watkins. Like, there's other also nice options that I don't have currently.
All right. Question. A lot of people actually, I don't know if we should dive into that right now. Let's talk Salah separately as a conversation. Because of the advent of Wirtz and Ekdike being in that team, and probably Isak, how do you guys see his goal share, and how do you see Liverpool's attack changing?
Pras?
I mean, Josh will tell us, I guess, but I think the novice view or the layman's view is the attack is better, but the goal share will reduce. But right now, is it worth making your bed? I mean, I talked about it in my team selection video that you have 3 games to figure it out. Like, I don't think you need to rush the decision and make the decision without any information at the moment. Community Shield will give us some clues, but then, they might end up signing Isak after. So this is all going to change. My view is get the most expensive guy who you're comfortable captaining in the first 3 weeks. And you're only captaining him in the first game week anyway. And then you take it from there. 3 free transfers, you move his money around. If you think Isak and Wirtz is a better combination, you can still do those moves. I just don't think you need to start and take a strong stance in game week 1.
I mean, what is the stance that people are taking? And again, I want to play devil's advocate. They're saying that Haaland's a better captaincy option than Palmer in game week 2 and 3 if they go both, which I think is a fair stance to take as long as you have enough around the team. Because, like Zoff and you mentioned, the price difference is 3.5 odd million, which is very significant as well. So that's the point.
Yeah.
I saw Liverpool play and I was blown away. Like, I think Salah is on for a 250 plus point season for sure, and I expect him to start off the block in the first half of the season really, really well as well, because I think Wirtz is one of the best creative players. I think that will help Salah. I think there's more distraction for defenders in the opposition, which might leave space for Salah as well. And I just generally think he's going to do well. I want 2 pieces of the Liverpool attack as well. That's what I noticed. Watching Liverpool and watching Arsenal felt like night and day, even though the first starting midfield didn't start for Arsenal in that first half. So, you have to take that with a pinch of salt.
We may even want 3. You never know with Isak.
Or Gakpo. A lot of people are going back.
Gakpo not so much, but I think Isak, I think he can be phenomenal at Liverpool.
He's a pretty underrated pick. Who's going to play left wing? Right now, Gakpo has no competition.
Ekitike will probably play.
He's a striker, backup striker.
Can.
He's not playing left
wing. He can play left wing. Again,
but
this is all Josh will tell us on Monday. We are just spitballing.
Wirtz can also play left wing, right? If Szoboszlai plays in the 10.
Yeah, Wirtz can play. So, this is a shout out to Adam Gilks who sent us pronunciations, and we have to try nailing Wirtz.
I'm not saying Wirtz, man. Look, I'm not doing a German translation. Wirtz is fine.
All right, cool. We'll go with Wirtz then. But
it's like Hackpo. Like we're not doing Hackpo either. Like it's Gakpo.
All right. We'll come to Gakpo at 7.5 million because I see a lot of people taking on the Salah captaincy and doubling up on Liverpool attack. I think his minutes for the first 4-5 weeks will look fine. I don't think they look dodgy. I think the second half of last year, he was pretty much starting left striker, left winger, and only problem was a lot of those 70-minute subs with Gakpo. But I think his minutes are a little bit underrated in the community. He has scored 4 goals in preseason as well. Like you said, no weak foot. He's getting slept on at the moment. Pretty good pick at 7.5 million if you're short of the minutes. I'm just taking on a lot more minutes assured players at the moment, but shouldn't sleep on Gakpo should you want to go that way.
Fair enough. To move on from Salah or stick around, discuss more over there?
Done. Let's do Palmer and Saka. Where are you guys on that?
With Palmer, I think it's a lot of shot in the dark. We had Danny talk to us about Palmer's chalkboard. And I think that's what we have to go on. And I think the bromance with Joao Pedro is going to play a big part. The loss of Colwill is very discouraging. He's sort of our Van Dijk. He's the leader of the back four, also helps a lot in build-up and distribution. So I don't exactly like that. But we do have the legs in midfield in the form of Enzo, Caicedo. It shouldn't make as much of a difference. We also have Fofana, who's a very good ball progressor. But with Palmer, we are hoping what we get is first half of the season Palmer and Club World Cup final Palmer. We don't know that. We just hope for that because that's the nature of the player. But I think Joao Pedro is going to be key to unlocking it.
Russ?
It's a team on the up. Like we have to recognize it's a team on the up. And the manager's intention is, like Zoff said, to get Palmer into the areas where he can hurt. So again, I don't think we need to overthink it as much because nothing has changed as such in Chelsea. It's a team that is doing better. They've signed a striker that should play, but it should not affect Palmer as such. Palmer's not giving away penalties to anybody. So nothing really has changed in his role. He was a good pick last year. He was a good pick the year before. So solid pick with good fixtures until game week 12. That's the beauty of it. Like you can either keep him until 12, you can move him to a Saka when Saka's fixtures get better after game week 6. It's just a nice pick to have as, your comfort blanket.
And you can even take him down to 5.5 if needed and upgrade somebody like a Watkins to Haaland in 2 moves. So it's also a bit of a cash cow.
Just when I'm picturing Chelsea play also, Pedro really helps. If you think about it, it helps unlock Palmer because you can see him coming a little deep to get the ball, and he's very good with his passes as well. And if Palmer makes those runs darting in, it should help him. So as a structure also, I like how Pedro might help Palmer. One thing, Pedro's really good at winning pens as well. I think that's another thing that will help Palmer too.
Fair point. I think Salah Palmer is. I mean, people can try to go different, and if they want to, that's fine. It's not like they're the only 2 picks. Haaland and Saka will probably match them over the period. But it's about picking your captaincies and rotating that, and that's what makes them an easy start. You can reevaluate. Like, we have transfers to move these guys around. They're all good and explosive.
I mean, would it be fair to say that we're higher on Salah, Palmer, and Haaland compared to Saka at the start of the season, especially given Arsenal's fixtures, and they still haven't solved their left wing problem at the moment. We don't know what the penalty situation looks like with Gyökeres there, as well as the goal share situation. So are we cooler on Saka compared to the other 3 premiums, I reckon?
I think so, and I think Arsenal also stylistically, they will need to change. We saw this with Pep. Once he got a goal-hanging striker, he needed all of pre-season to change the way the team play. Arsenal haven't really got that, and I think it might be a bit of learning on the job as we go. Because it's very different having Havertz there versus a Gyökeres. It's completely different. So I think that might also play a bit of a part. And again, Arsenal aren't a team that scored a lot of goals. Even against Leeds, do you expect them to win 5-0 or do you expect them to win 2-0? I think it's the latter. So again, with Saka, the thing is his goal share was very high. That's what we liked him. So that's why I think a little bit more pessimistic than the other 3.
In agreement with that view.
But I would also say maybe we shouldn't overcorrect, right? I mean, the same thing is they have sorted out the attack with Gyökeres. So maybe we can have the same logic that attack should do better this year, theoretically. So even if Saka's goal share goes down, if they're scoring more goals, they didn't get many penalties as Twill Media points out. They only got 2 penalties last year. So that also affects our, biases a little bit. If Saka had got 6 more penalties, we would be talking about him a little bit more. He's the best captain game week 2. So if people did want to look at that, then he is a very good differential captain in Game Week 2. So I don't hate it if anybody goes, but I do agree with the sentiment you guys are saying that it's easier and nicer and more comfortable to go with Salah and Palmer.
All right, let's move on to the player Pras has been itching and aching to talk about. Bruno Fernandes, the floor is yours, Pras.
I mean, look, firstly, I should say that there will be things like, the models have released and, he's basically talking about Bruno Fernandes. I'm open to talk about it. I was talking to Zoff before the pod started that this year is different from other years in that I used to think Game Week 1, you trust the models the least because they don't know. New signings, impact, there's a lot of variance in terms of how you predict how people will do. This year, we have to give it a little bit more thought because the rules have changed. The way the players score points have changed. So this chart basically made by FPL Fraser, shout out to him, Man United fan, passionate about Man United. Those who follow him know it. And he makes these lovely FPL charts. We've used them in the past.
Friend of Fabrizio Romano. No.
Friend of Fabrizio Romano who replied to his comment is basically making the point that the models have now calculated in expected points, which is your expected defensive contribution points per 90, which is on the y-axis, and your on the x-axis is your non-pen XGI. So in basic terms, it's saying who are the players who are very attacking, but also get you defensive contributions because it's very hard to do. How can you do recoveries and do attacking? There's only one player in the top right of the box. That is Bruno Fernandes. Somebody would say, what about his role? I'll come to you, LR, because I have views about his role and stuff as well. But minutes, penalties, defensive contribution, one return gets you bonus points. The guy is going to be getting points consistently. Whether you want to captain him or not, doesn't matter. If you have Salah and Palmer already, maybe you don't have to. Even though models will say Game Week 3 and Game Week 7, he's the best captain. Game Week 7 is even more important because Salah plays Palmer. So you may actually want another captain, or you may choose to stay with Salah or Palmer. So he rotates well from that point of view, but he's one of those guys that I feel is nailed on for 200 points this year if he continues to stay injury-free, no matter where he plays. Because that's what his floor has just gone up by 2 points, and he always has that Hall game in him anyway. where he scores a penalty, gets an assist. I just think it's a no-brainer pick for 9 million. Like initially my reaction was 9 million could be too much. But I think now that Saka has dampened a little bit in terms of appeal, Isak we don't know, there's a question mark. If you're spending money as your third option, if I'm choosing Watkins or Bruno, I'm choosing Bruno.
Yeah, I think the DEFCON points have been factored into his price. Now, just having a look at the raw numbers, he had more than double that of Palmer. So, in terms of the premium mids for DEFCON, he's in another league altogether. None of the premium mids are going to be hitting DEFCON. It seems unlikely even in one game. So, I think that is a big. I think you're talking about with the clean sheet, a floor of 4 or 5 for Bruno in every game. But again, Ella, talk to me about his role. We're seeing Sesko's medical happening today. I think the front three is most likely first choice going to be Cunha, Sesko and Bumo, right?
I'm not sure if that might be the front three in the first game. But I'll just tell you what, the role thing is a bit overplayed. And let me just take a minute to explain why. Cunha will essentially play as a left 10. Sometimes in preseason, Amorim likes to rotate the left 10 and the right 10 and the invert. Sometimes if there's spot weaknesses or he wants to change or bring a little bit of variation in his attack as well. What happens is, if Bruno will either play as the 10. In the last preseason game when Bruno played as the right-sided 10, Bumo went up front. Bumo was the striker. Cunha is the slightly deeper 10 of the two. Why? Because he's really good at ball progression. He collects the ball from deep. As we know, his turning ability, his ball holding ability, his passing, his running with the ball ability is something that United will use to progress the ball. So if Bruno is playing as a 10, you're happy with him anyway because he's in the attacking positions. If Bruno is playing as one of the 8s, he's not going to be the deeper lying of the 8s. So that what happens is Cunha and Bumo will be slightly further forward on the right hand side, and Cunha and Bruno are sort of the 10s on both sides, who are responsible for ball creation, ball progression and chance creation from both sides. Whereas Dorgu and Ahmad sort of form the roles of being the wings. And once the ball's cut back and is either with Dorgu or Ahmad on that side, both have to be placed in the center of the box for the cutback to score a goal or create a pass. So the role doesn't matter that much for Bruno, whether he plays as a 10 or whether he plays as an 8. I was looking at stats from FPL. He just tweeted about it today as well. There's about a 0.9 NP XGI per 90 difference based on Bruno's role. 0.09, sorry, not 0.9, 0.09. And this was in a system where I don't think the team played up to the level of the system last year. I think that will progress this year. So Bruno's definitely a better pick this year because he's around better players who are just better with the decision making. Garnacho, if he gets the ball in attacking position, is going to cut and shoot. That's not going to be the case with Cunha, Bumo, who are much more efficient, intelligent users of the ball. They will see Bruno in a better position to shoot. They will pass the ball to him rather than taking the shot themselves. And secondly, both are underrated penalty winners as well. I expect United to go higher on the penalty count as well because both Cunha and Bumo are strong dribblers of the ball as well. So we might win a few more penalties this season too. So Bruno's definitely a better pick this season than he was last year.
Baleba could be key also to unlock Bruno. But if you sign Baleba, I'm a Bruno believer. That I couldn't leave him if I tried.
You just said that because you wanted to throw the pun in there.
Of course.
We got this one. I mean, look at the attacking data from last year. Like Zoff, you started with that slide where you compared Man United's attacking data. Like we know it was the worst they can do. At their worst, their attacking numbers are similar to Villa. So nobody has a problem going for Watkins. Watkins doesn't have penalties. Watkins, of course, has more goals, but
Watkins
he doesn't
could
have
penalties.
But he's terrible at them. That's actually not a good thing.
But I'm just saying he could have penalties. Yeah, let's not be
okay.
absolute in our statements. That's all.
Okay, last year he didn't have penalties. If you're comparing last year Watkins to last year Bruno, what I'm trying to say is now Bruno has added another feather of defensive contributions to his cap to already being a bonus monster. So it's not just defensive contributions. He could end up in a game where he gets 1 assist, gets 2 defensive contribution points. For 1 assist, he regularly gets 3 bonus points. You're just looking at a 9-pointer for doing nothing. So I'm just thinking there is a lot of potential here. And what I like even more is what I'm seeing in the comments. People don't believe in him because on the eye test, in most games, he doesn't look great. But they will look where he's playing and just decide, okay, he's not a good FPL pick. That's a perfect pick then for me because this guy will get 90 minutes. He'll get penalties. He'll get DEFCON points. over 6 game weeks, you'll feel like he's got 2 assists. How is he outscoring Wirtz? And you go, oh, it's all the other stuff. So I just think he's a no-brainer. 12 game weeks, long-term pick.
And also, like we said that we want to be a more analytics focused spot this year as well. Analytics is high on him, and that's good confirmation bias. Let's just start not being apologetic about that too. It's good confirmation bias. It helps that
Not
they
high.
also believe
They're
it.
huge on him. He is higher in his expected points in the first 12 weeks than Saka. So this is from Solio Analytics. This is the 12 game week projection. He's number 3. And there is a distance between him and the others. By the way, Wirtz is very high as well. I don't want to make this into a debate of Wirtz versus Bruno because you can have both. I think it's a question of Watkins versus Wirtz versus Bruno. You can have 2 in the structure, in addition to Salah and Palmer, if you go for cheap forwards or if you go slightly thinner in defense.
It's because you want 2 of these is why you are ignoring Haaland. Because the price gap between Haaland and Palmer doesn't allow that extra
fair enough.
mid-price player you're talking about, right? I'm just tying into the conversation. That's all.
Sure.
Yeah.
But given your
makes sense.
relationship with Bruno Pras, are you going to take one for the team?
I will not. I'm not letting people have Bruno's points this year. I will, in fact, what I will do is I will not sell him and I will go down with the ship is basically my strategy. But I mean, I'm joking. He is also the price point where you can go down to a Wirtz. If Wirtz is completely blowing it out of the water, no one is stopping you from doing transfers. My strategy on Wirtz has been first 3 game weeks, watch how Liverpool perform. They have away Newcastle, they have home Arsenal, and then take it from there. Then you'll have a much better understanding of goal shares and stuff. I could also start with Wirtz, by the way. Cheap strikers is also an option, but we're not discussing drafts at the moment. But you can easily also have, in fact, I shared with you guys a draft where you can have Salah, Palmer, Bruno, and Wirtz as your midfield 4.
You can easily have it's Bruno or Palmer, same price.
The fixtures worry you guys is Arsenal, Fulham, Burnley is obviously a good one, then Man City and Chelsea on the first 5 fixtures. It's not an easy run. Even Fulham are a decent defense. Then you Arsenal, Man City, Chelsea, 3 of the top 4 from last season.
So there's only 3 bad fixtures. There's 6 bad fixtures in a season. Maybe 8 if you're making a case for Wolves so far. There's no real green run of fixtures for anybody. Anyways, about whether
these
you
are
think
tough
United
fixtures.
will.
You can't write them any other way. There are 3 of the top 4 from last season.
Yeah, true, fair. Watkins' fixtures are better if you're comparing 9 million to 9 million at the moment. So that's a fair argument.
But he's got a 4-point floor now in these fixtures. Of course, he won't get it on every, but the game has changed now.
Absolutely. And being difficult fixtures, like you said, he's more likely to get them. So I do appreciate that.
That's what I mean.
Well.
And also in the more difficult fixtures, he's likelier to play in the front 3.
Is it? You think so?
I think so.
They'll play
Who do you
two
think will miss
CDMs.
out from Cunha and Bumo?
Sesko.
So one of these, who's going to play up top then?
Cunha,
He played
that's
in
what
the
happened in the
last
last game. Bruno was the 10 on the right side, Cunha was the 10 on the left side, and Bumo was striker.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And in most games, for people who are worried about his positioning, Bruno moves further forward as the game progresses. So Bumo comes off, Cunha will come off,
That's
Bruno
why
will come
midfield
up.
it just gets porous then.
Yeah.
Bruno will accumulate 12 DEFCON points while playing in the centre mid position. 70th minute, come and play in the 10, get his assist, get his 3 bonus, and walk away with an 11-pointer. And you're like, okay, how did he do that?
Yeah. And the position is such a what do you call? It's just for show sort of way to talk about the situation, because Bruno's role in the team, whatever the position, his role, whether Cunha is in the front 3 or a little bit, his role on the left hand side is similar to Bruno's role on the right hand side. Progress the ball, create chances, be positioned in the center of the box for the cutback.
But yeah, I think him and Watkins is not an easy call, man, because again, we've seen Watkins also is a big chance hogger. He's looked quite sharp in preseason. Villa's fixtures are, you just look at the fixtures for Villa. It's Newcastle, who I think are in a bit of flux at the moment, Brentford, his old club, good record against them, Palace, Everton, Sunderland, Fulham and Burnley, all at home. Up to game week 7, Watkins' run is fantastic.
I like Watkins as well. So it's not about liking one over the other.
I was talking to Tom Freeman and Adam Hopcroft as well. Both have said that Watkins has looked really sharp in pre-season. And they also said that now that there's no Rashford, Duran, he tends to thrive when he's the main man as well. From a very personable sort of point of view, And they said that he's giving centre backs a big game. He's looking as sharp as he has. Last year he had some injury problems as well, so he's looking a lot sharper at the moment. Push comes to shove. At the moment, I'm preferring Watkins. Don't want to sit on the fence,
Same.
but I don't want to put anybody off Bruno as a pick.
You can do
Let's
both.
talk. You
I
can
can
do
have
both
a
as well.
structure where I can have all four of them.
Yep.
Salah,
Yep.
Palmer, Watkins, Bruno.
Yeah.
And
But I
big
just
at the
want to
back.
say that people who are shitting on Bruno as a pick are making a mistake because you're underrating him as a pick, in my opinion.
I agree.
That's all.
I'm totally open to it. It's a completely different team from last year. I think we have to give Manchester United a clean slate this season.
All right, let's talk about the 8.5 midfielders. Son is not there anymore. Wirtz and Marmoush. Where are you guys on those picks?
I think Marmoush, the time we need to spend on him is probably minimal. Lots of game time uncertainty, lot of positional uncertainty. As a pick, do you think
Is
it's
it
worth a
though?
punt with City's fixtures? Where do you expect him to play? Do you expect him to play behind Haaland or on the wing?
Behind Haaland. But Pep can change his game team tactics on a weekly basis, which is why I just want more information, because there's Shirky there and there's Foden there as well. And you can't ignore the fact that there. I think Marmoush is first choice. He's ahead, but you're always oohing and eyeing before the team sheet. So you need like 4 or 5 weeks of proof before going there. He could be a great pick, but know that minutes questionability is there.
Agree, Pras?
I mean, he didn't play a single game in the Club World Cup alongside Haaland, right? So
Yeah.
I think that's a big clue. But Club World Cup, we can also say as a preseason, we should not like count too much into it.
No, so what happened is I think we could have seen the first choice team in the next 2 games.
Yeah, because
In
he
the 3
rotated a
or
lot
4
in the
games that
early
we
games.
saw. He experimented a lot and the opposition wasn't that great. What happened when they lost the game was also a little bit of a shock as well. So we could have seen what happened later. Hopefully the weekend tells us. But he's a minutes risk, high upside punt, but he's a minutes risk. Do you want to take on minutes risk at the start of the season? It's your decision. Who isn't a minutes risk, in my opinion, is Wirtz. I saw Liverpool and he was central and involved in everything. And after watching that team and watching them click, they've gone up a gear in quality of attack, in my opinion, by the addition of Wirtz. And I want 2 pieces of the pie because everybody's going to have Salah. And I want the additional points from the best attack in the league, in my opinion. And which is why I'm pretty hot on Wirtz. He's in my team. As soon as I saw that game, I changed my draft up to make sure he's in my team because he looked really good. And I'm not worried about minutes anymore either. Where are you guys on Wirtz?
Pras, you're usually downbeat on new signings, but I think Wirtz could be an exception.
No, I'm very high on Wirtz. I mean, the models are high. I think he looks great. He takes set pieces. He took corners on both sides. So, like, if he's taking over corners from Trent and Robertson, I mean, we haven't seen him play with McAllister yet, so jury's open. But if he takes, I think I messaged you guys, if he takes corners on both sides in the Community Shield, I'll find it very hard to go against him. Like, that XA is going to shoot up.
Yeah. By the way, there's a good chance McAllister doesn't start the season in the easier fixtures because Szoboszlai as the deep lying midfielder was great. So, and I thought McAllister was one of the best players last season, so it's interesting to see what they do. But then Wirtz on set pieces is interesting as well.
And just very central. In the last game, he didn't get a goal. He could have easily had a brace.
Ridiculously good quality player, man. Like everything he does is great. Like his assist potential as well. And he's one of the reasons why I'm high on Salah as well, because I think he'll create chances for Salah because
That's
he's
why I'm
so
not
good with the
discounting
utilization.
the triple up as well with Isak, because the service that Isak is going to get, it'll just be phenomenal. You have Frimpong, Kirkes, Wirtz, Salah. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. I was talking to Jazzy and, I spoke about him as a comparison to De Bruyne in the last video. And he was like, actually, he's a lot more David Silva than De Bruyne because he likes to operate in tight spaces. He's more about cute, high volume passes, which are accurate inside the box as well. So just as a comparison, he thought that would be a closer comparison as well. But he's a better shooter, etc. as well. So all 3 of us are on Wirtz and do you have him in a draft at the moment, Pras?
No. So I have Watkins instead of Wirtz at the moment, but I'm debating between the two. I mean, if you tell me Watkins is on penalties, I'll switch to Watkins. If you tell me Wirtz has all the set pieces, I'll switch to him. The only thing with Wirtz, and I'm looking forward to Josh's conversation for this reason, is I want to understand this dynamics with Szoboszlai probably starts the tougher games in that 10 because he's such a great presser, right? So where does Wirtz play? Away to Newcastle and home to Arsenal. I would like to basically understand that. I think easier games, which is nice that he'll start in the 10. I want to know in the tougher games because Liverpool do have a few. I don't want those 1-pointers. And then, that affects price, it affects knee jerking. So I think he still starts, but people in the comments are saying Wirtz won't play on the left. Who actually plays? Like, what is the predicted lineup away to Newcastle is what I'm very interested.
That's why Gakpo is flying under the radar. Like, his prime competition on the left wing was Diaz. Now his prime competition is that wonder kid from Liverpool who looks sensational at the moment, which is why they're thinking of not even investing in a left forward at the moment, which means he's got that starting position locked in as a left forward at the moment, I reckon.
Yeah, but it's not like McAllister will never start and Szoboszlai will never start.
So what might happen is Ekitike might miss out in such games where they play a midfield.
But Ekitike is missing out anyway if he's Isak signs.
Yeah, so that's So one
it's
for
the
Josh
minutes
to
that
tell us.
I need to be convinced on, that once everybody is in, and assuming Isak also signs, who is first choice? Like, are we saying Wirtz starts every single game? I hope so, but I don't know. I don't know the answer.
I think he will, because he's just too damn good. I think he's going to get to the same levels of being undroppable as Salah.
I agree. My inclination is that too.
Again, and obviously this is all guessing. Watch out for Josh's pod on Monday.
No, but watching him, you see that quality, man. He's a level above as a player. You see that quality. All right, let's talk about the 8 million mids.
Any 8.5 forwards we should compare him to? I think there's only Ekitike in that bracket, who we just spoke.
I think Watkins was the comparison. Now let's just go mids down. So, yeah, because I think 7.5 is when we start considering the forwards now. But we'll do that as a forward separate segment. All right,
the other mids in that pat. Yeah, Odegaard, Bumo, Cunha was I was going to as well.
Yeah. Odegaard, Foden, minutes risk, and Odegaard hasn't shown much at the start of the season, so I think we won't waste too much time there. I do want to give a line on Cunha and Bumo. I thought 3 weeks ago that Cunha would be the guy, but he's fairly deep in the United setup because Amorim is using him a lot to bring the ball from the middle third to the final third because of his dribbling ability.
Takes over.
He's a progressor. He's one of the best progressors in the world, I think.
I actually think they're going to use Bumo in a high volume shot taking, chance creating only in the final third situation as well. So while earlier my presumption was that Cunha would be the better asset, if you want to take a punt on an 8 million midfielder from United, I think Bumo might be the one. Because he impressed me in that last game. So just watch out for that. Could play as a striker in some of the tough games as well, as he did in the previous friendly. So that's my shout. If you're going for an 8 million midfielder, go Bumo over Cunha.
But I would avoid anyway. I think you're on the same page. Like, just go Wirtz, man.
In addition to Wirtz is much better than both. If you have a space for another 8 million midfielder as well,
I would rather go Eze, man. Because again, we go back to these Solio numbers and we'll talk about Eze when we get to the 7.5 bracket. Could be insane value. The only thing that's putting me off slightly is the transfer speculation. Arsenal might still go for him, and I think that saga is going to drag on till the end of the window. But I think quality player.
I spoke to an Arsenal journal, and he did say, I mentioned this in the previous pod as well. I know I mentioned it in the Discord hangout that I did on Thursday. He said that there is more noise than there is actual conversation happening about the Eze situation. It sort of died down as well. So it still makes me nervous because I think Spurs could also be in for him now that Maddo's injured. So I'm just waiting to see. But I think that there is more noise than meat in that situation at the moment. And I got that from an Arsenal journal. So
I think Eze is a good transfer in. A lot of people are struggling with that 6.5 million midfielder bracket or 5.5 million midfielder bracket. Eze is a nice transfer in Game Week 4 because that's when he plays, I think, Sunderland at home.
Even Game Week 1 plus with Colwill out and our lack of match sharpness.
But what I mean is you don't want the guy to be sold in Game Week 2 and then he's not in the squad suddenly. Like, if you told me he's 100% staying, of course, Eze is great. Like, I think he's the best 7.5 midfielder. Gordon not far behind, we can come to him. So I think great option. But with the uncertainty, I just don't. Do you really want that transfer to be hanging when Palmer is not looking great, and you think, oh, maybe I made a mistake going Salah, I should go Wirtz and Isak instead, and then you have Eze as well to deal with. I just don't want to have that problem. By Game Week 3, I need to have 2 or 3 transfers only dedicated to seeing if I made a mistake, not for like these transfer speculation picks.
I just wanted to say one other thing that I noticed in the friendly of United as well. Bumo took a couple of direct free kicks, and I think he might have 30 or 40% set piece share as well, especially from the right hand side. We've seen it for Brentford. He's been one of the best deliverers of the ball as well. So my inkling is he's a little bit of an underrated pick right now because I think he's going to be more further up the field than Cunha. He might play striker in some games, and I think he might have 40-50% of set piece share as well if you want a punt.
Anything else in the 8 million bracket we need to talk about? Not much else.
Phil
But they're
Foden,
competing with Bowen, right?
I mean, we'll talk forward
Yeah.
separately because when we're talking about 8.0, 7.5, there are way more over there. Let's just do the mids first, then we'll jump to the
Okay.
8.0 and below forwards.
Will Phil Foden be a pick at some point this season? Not at Gameweek 1, but what do you guys reckon?
I think so.
Of course, at some point.
Too good a player
So
to
as well,
ignore for the entire year. I think he had probably the worst year he'll have in his career last season. It can only get better for Phil.
Yeah. My only problem is there's so many guys, man. Shirky and Marmoush are sort of similar positions as well. So I want to see what Pep does. Curious to see what Pep does. All right, 7.5 million. We already spoke about Gakpo, Eze and Gakpo, and Gordon and Gibbs White. I think Gibbs White is not comparable to Eze, Gordon, and
7.5
Gakpo.
for like a bottom half XG team.
Yeah.
And not the
and he's not even that forward. He's not even that far forward. In fact, in the friendly, he played deeper as one of the eights alongside Anderson because they had all these attackers playing together.
This guy Jesus they've signed, right? He's very good. Like there'll be implications even on maybe Chris Wood's minutes, but that we can come to when we get to strikers. But Jesus is a good chance creator. Whether he starts immediately all the games in the Premier League or not, but I think Gibbs White. I think we've said what we had to say.
And we should also mention we're recording this on the 8th of August. Palace's appeal to cash will be determined on Monday. So we'll have an idea who plays in the Europa League and who plays in the conference. I think whoever plays in the Europa League can't really afford to rotate. They'll be playing good teams. In the conference, you can afford to play somewhat of a second string lineup. So for example, if Forest are more likely in the Europa League, that would put me off anybody else in attack. But I think they will struggle Thursday, Sundays.
Conversely, if they are in the conference, then they have a qualification to play between Gameweek 1 and 2 and Gameweek 2 and 3, which is not the case if they're in the Europa League, if I'm mistaken. So the first 3 weeks open up as a slot as well, which is something I'm worried about. I prefer if Palace play the Europa League because you get a clean slot first 3 weeks and no European distractions. Otherwise, I think they have to play Midtjylland or something of that sort, if I'm not mistaken.
Dude, we have lost to Midtjylland in the past.
I know. And I don't like that. And I think Palace will prioritize Europe. I was talking to Walsh and he was like, they will go first team in Europe, whichever way they go, because it's a big deal for these clubs that are doing it for the first time always.
Absolutely. So 7 million mids
Cool.
and things. No, let's do
wait,
7.5 here. We got Gordon and a few others here.
Is Gordon a pick we're sleeping on? Striker at the moment. Newcastle, first two are tough, but I mean, Aston Villa, he can still score. That's a high scoring game generally. After that, there's Leeds and Wolves and Bournemouth. 3 good games for attackers. Are we sleeping on Newcastle attack? Are we sleeping on Gordon?
They will
Just
sign
because he's
another
not
forward.
fashionable?
I mean, he is out of position now. We expect him to start in the striker role against Villa, probably have penalties, but they will definitely sign a forward, maybe even 2. Now, they also signed Elanga. They also have Harvey Barnes. We've seen Gordon is always a starter, and it's usually the other 2 guys. And they also have Jacob Murphy. So they have legit 4 good wingers now, and they have Champions League football as well. Is Gordon's game time as secure it has been in previous season?
I reckon so, man. He's main man sort
I
of
think
while
so.
Isak is gone. And it's a sleeper set of fixtures, Leeds and Wolves and Gameweek 3 and 4, back to back. It's good fixtures. So that's the only thing I was like, are we sleeping on him? I just think there's too many good picks around. Like I would rather save 0.5 and go Rodgers, or I would rather spend 0.5 or 1 million and go Wirtz at the moment, which is why Gordon loses out. But there's a sleeper couple of fixtures in 3 and 4 for him. And Gakpo, man, I think he's a pick. I'll ask Josh specifically about him, and we'll discuss that on the Liverpool pod. But I think he might be a pick flying under the radar right now.
And Newcastle are a top 4 XG team. So I get your point you're making on Gordon. They always will score a few goals.
Yeah.
We'll have a Newcastle pick in Wildcard 13 for sure. Like those who are, or Game Week 13 onwards. But at the moment, like it feels like you're spending too much. Even though, like I said, Gordon took over set pieces last season from Trippier.
Yeah.
He will take pens until they sign a striker. Just nice, good pick for the first 3-4 weeks.
Even generally long term, I'm looking at fixtures. Let's say after Leeds and Wolves in 3 and 4, he's got Bournemouth, Arsenal stuff. Then he's got Forest, Brighton, Fulham, West Ham. So there's no run of like clear tough fixtures. I think it's 11 to 13 before the run turns really good. It's a good long term view, but I just don't know what's happening at that club, and I prefer the other picks around that price bracket. That's why. Maybe a sleeper pick that we're all ignoring again conveniently. There's a bit of groupthink there, I reckon.
I think it's just a noise around Newcastle. Right now, there's so much turmoil. You see, Newcastle Twitter is an absolute pandemonium. So I think it's just a bit of that.
Like, don't you think sometimes this sort of noise for the players that are actually there might provide a little bit of extra motivation?
I guess it might galvanize them. You might see that sometimes it might galvanize the crowd, especially at game week 2. St. James Park will be a cauldron, especially if Isak is on the other team. That might help again. So you never really know, but it's a bit of uncertainty right now coupled with mixed fixtures to start with. I think that's why really we're ignoring Gordon. I mean, we both started with him last season. I remember game week 1, even though he had limited minutes pre-season.
Yeah, and he was responsible for your great end to the season before last as well, which is why we were hot on him after all. So a little bit of a forgotten FPL staple, I reckon, with good upside if he has pens. All right, now 7 million and under. I don't think I need to go through the list. Just picks that you like at 7 million.
Before you go there, let's just do a quick shout out to the guys who are doing the competition for us on Discord.
Sure.
So this is basically FPL Pro Leagues, and it's I believe they've started this year, and they are going to help out with our leagues in Discord. We have a Discord league going, and what is cool about it is they do a lot of the back end competitions once you give them access to the league of all these Champions League formats, the knockout cups. They have a lot of stuff that you can see here. And if you want to get involved, you basically just go on FPL Pro. I'm going to bring up the actual website. At FPL Pro Leagues, you can go to the Twitter handle, and you just basically have to register your mini league code, and they will set up all these competitions for you. So FPL is all about playing with your friends, right? And we're doing this with our Discord. So I really wanted to shout those guys out. This is not a sponsorship or anything. It was just something that they're happy to do for us, and we were happy to give them a shout out because it's pretty cool actually to set up these competitions. So on the back of that, if you wanted to get involved in the Discord, so the way to do that is on the FPL Wire. You can join the YouTube by becoming a member. And you can also become a Patreon on patreon.com/the FPL Wire. So the idea would be once you join the Discord, we have a Discord league that is exclusive to the members and to the Patreons, and you can then participate in all these prizes. Last year, have we shipped all the jerseys out? But basically, we gave out jerseys to the winner of the Champions League format, the overall Discord League winner, and stuff like that. So it's part of our way of saying thank you. But if you are able to support us, this would be the way to join our Discord League.
And 16% off annual membership.
Yeah, man, I think this is just the best time to get involved. I, in fact, did a Q&A, not a Q&A, just chill hangout session with everybody on Thursday, which was an hour long. It was so much fun. It was more about, and it was genuine football. Like, I felt like I was podding with you guys. Like, I spoke to a few Arsenal fans, spoke to Eno about his Haaland, no Salah draft and what direction he's taking his team in. Just generally good fun if you're looking for a space outside of Twitter where you can be with the community and talk, not just FPL, whether it's gymming, shows, TV, movies. It's a good place to hang. So get in there, join us.
We've got 7 million midfielders.
All right, man. Rogers, what's the latest on his fitness and where are you guys? Does it worry you?
A little bit, because I read up a bit about it. Now, Emery expects him to be available, and they're hopeful, quote unquote, that he's available for that Newcastle game, but he will not feature in any of the remaining preseason games. So I think we might get some training images closer to game week 1, but we will be going in a little bit blind, and I don't like players carrying these injuries. Obviously, the good thing is now Villa have free midweeks in the first 3 game weeks, so he can afford to rest. But Rogers has been a mainstay in so many of my drafts that I'm going to struggle to replace him, and I'm really, really tempted to start with him because he just ticks all the boxes. He had 19 returns last season, 3,000 plus minutes. He's everything you want from an FPL asset, and you think the trajectory for the player is on the upwards now.
Yeah, but he doesn't tick all the boxes. Like if you look at it from an analytical point of view, no set pieces, no penalties, which is why they are not as big on him as us in general as well. Like I'm with you. I believe in the trajectory of the player. Yes, I think he could go up a level.
He's like below. So you can see your Mitoma and Sarr even over here on the projection. So they are not very bullish on it, the analytics side of it.
Yeah, but I'm with you. I believe in the skill set, ability and trajectory of the player. He's close to goal all the time. He's almost, again, when I'm thinking of mids being close to goal, he strikes to me as one of them who's always goal hanging, creating, and I think he's going to shoot up goal levels up as a player. Already we forget that he's just had a season and a half under Emery in this league, and he's already become so pivotal. I'm expecting another 10-10 sort of season from him. And I think it was Baker or Danny who made a good point that when you're watching.
I think we should be back now. Let's just wait for the chat. I think we should be back now, guys. The chat, please let us know.
All right. Zoff, you want to do the virtual camera or let be?
Yes, I'll just fix it up.
Oh, we're back.
We are, aren't we?
Yes.
Everyone's saying yes.
There we go.
Lots of
All right,
enthusiastic yeses. So who did we dish that basically did this to us? Which player? Was it Rodgers? No.
No, we're saying we like Rodgers, so it's all good. I don't know if people got the Son Kane comparison with Watkins and Rodgers in terms of goal share. They could be right up there, and that's where we left the conversation. All right. Any other 7 million bits that you're liking? Obviously, wait on the injury news and what we hear midweek and before the press conference.
Does that not put you off both? Like you could argue that if Rodgers is out for any length of time, let's say if he misses preseason, he'll again not just start and play 90 minutes from day one, right? He's coming back.
He's not missed preseason. It's only just one half he's really missed, and he's missing the next preseason friendly. So effectively, you could say he's missed 90 plus 45. That's it.
So if he's back, then he's fine. But what if he's not? What does it put you off? Obviously Rodgers, but also Watkins or not?
No, because it looks like the conversation was that we expect him to be fine for Newcastle. So my inkling is if he misses, he max misses one game. It doesn't look like a long-term injury, so it doesn't put me off Watkins. But obviously, I won't start with Rodgers at the start of the season. Because also, carrying an injury, forget that he was playing 90 minutes midweek, 90 minutes weekend, 90 minutes midweek, 90 minutes weekend, all of last season. He's like one of those. He's almost like Bruno Fernandes in terms of how robust and fit he is all the time as well. So I don't want to forget that just because of some small issue that he's had. He's a very robust player.
Very minor thing. I just said something because it was a preseason game. Just go get it checked out rather than risk it.
Yeah, we shouldn't use that as a reason if you're not going Watkins, basically.
Yeah. All right. Any other 7 million mids that you guys like that are noteworthy? Anybody interested in the Bournemouth mids to start the season?
Let's just talk about Bournemouth as a team. Today we got news that Zaba is also off to PSG. So they've effectively sold their defenders to Madrid, PSG, and who was the other guy?
And Liverpool.
And Liverpool.
Yes.
So
three of the top 5 European teams at the moment.
It's insane. And even technically Kepa has gone to Arsenal. So
yeah. It's a shout out to the recruitment team, man. And Areola. I mean, the biggest of the big clubs in Europe are poaching their players at the moment, which is pretty cool.
Yes, so and the midfield also is a little bit unsettled now. Neil Grover on the Planet FPL pod was talking about how they might not have Christie. In general, even the midfield is a little bit light. So I'm a little bit worried now. The Iraola team will always be good in attack, but the supply line does seem a little bit truncated at the moment. So despite good fixtures from game week 2, I think they're a bit of an avoid for me.
Same at the moment. I just like other picks around the prices a lot more than to go for Bournemouth. If Kluivert had a full preseason, I'd be very interested because you're getting a 7 million midfielder with penalties, but he's not. He might play the last friendly this weekend, so I want to see what happens there because he's one of the few midfielders with penalties as well, so that works in that favor.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, Evanilson is a different story. We'll come to him when we talk forwards, but for now, midfielders, no.
Yeah. All right, I'll quickly waffle out some names. You guys want to talk about any of these? Shada, Neto, Savinho, Ilanga, Johnson, Madison?
Neto,
not necessarily any of them.
I think Neto, let's touch upon. I think if you want potentially a double attack investment in Chelsea, I think he is one of the more nailed attackers to start. He was very impressive in the Club World Cup, and I think, again, he's gotten bedded into the Chelsea team a lot more. The management likes his work ethic. I wouldn't put anyone off Neto over there potentially.
What Danny said about him mentally not being in the best place and maybe getting some extra time off because of what happened with Diogo Jota put me off a little.
I mean, we know that in preseason. So we see the next game, but I do think you will see him in the starting lineup because he's too important to the team now.
All right. Fair shot. But it's flaky, right? Because Chelsea are buying wingers by the dozen, adding more horses to the stable.
You're trying to push Garnacho to us at every opportunity.
Yeah, I think that's going to happen. I'm pretty sure Garnacho to Chelsea is going to happen. I don't see that not happening.
Any player in his early 20s with resale value, Chelsea are all over. That's just how the model is now.
Yeah. So that's why. Are you worried about minutes in the future? That's the thing, right? Again, it's one of those too many guys oohing and eyeing, form dependent. He's
Again,
become
what
first
Danny
choice, but
said, Chelsea are going to become a mini Manchester City where we are just going to have potentially just 2 or 3 nailed assets.
yep. All right. Any other names you guys want to talk about, or we can go to the 6.5 million
The
midfielders?
6.5 mids are interesting, aren't they? Let's spend some time over there.
First question, I want to ask Pras. What's your opinion on analytics darling Yuri Tillemans, who out of the blue
Fine, not exciting. He's fine.
one day
Like,
featured
I
in
don't think.
a lot of teams that I'm seeing on Twitter that was didn't mentioned before ever, and then you see these names, and Zoff famously pointed out and spoke about this too.
I mean, look, I think it's a combination of two things. One, Ndiaye has become less of a darling because Everton keep wanting to sign players. I think Everton are looking at Grealish and others. So basically, some minutes concerns. But yeah, Tielemans, like, he's showing up high because people have got him to have like 50-60% penalty share. And so he shows up high because you get DEFCON points, you get 60% chance of taking a penalty, good fixtures, 6 million, nothing really that appealing at 6.5. He's fine, nothing that exciting. But then, I've been talking about Bruno Fernandes for the last 15 minutes for similar reasons. So I can understand it, but I'm not going to shout here and say you must get Tielemans.
All right. Any other picks that we like in the 6.5 bracket? There's some good names here. Rice, Mitoma, Enzo. I do want to say I'm very Declan Rice curious because I want to see how Arsenal function with Zubimendi in the team. We didn't get to see it, and I want to see how they function. I think he could. I was a Declan Rice option as an FPL pick fan last year. Never really went there, but obviously DC points add a little bit of weightage to his armory, but I'm going to wait and see if he's a pick by the time Gameweek 7 and the fixture turn for Arsenal comes.
There are a lot of other picks we should talk about. Let's talk about the Everton one. Ndoye, I think that's a big one we should tackle now. Everton are a bottom 5 XG team we see over here. And plus, like we've seen, the analytics are also very big on him. The minutes are secure. They're linked with a lot of new signings, but Everton, I'm just not getting good vibes. Moyes teams are generally slow starters. They're moving to a new stadium, and I don't think the two fixtures are as easy as they appear on paper. Brighton have traditionally been a bit of a bogey team for Everton, and it's Leeds' first home game back in the Premier League. What do you think?
Everton attack, yeah. I mean, I think Ndiaye is a good pick. He's a decent pick. For 6.5, you're not getting, you're getting the whole DEFCON penalties type of things. I'm repeating because he's a similar pick to Tielemans in that aspect. But Villa is a much better attack, and Tielemans is cheaper. So I think that's where people have landed.
But Tielemans is like an 8 and Ndiaye is a striker. I can't let you get away with
that. He's a winger. He's a winger.
He plays left wing.
He's not a winger.
Oh, come on.
No. In that team,
Beto is the striker.
McNeil is the winger. Ndiaye is an inside forward. He's not a winger in that team. That's not his role in that team. He's sort of like Salah. He's in the sense positionally he's closer to goal. He doesn't hold width. If you look at the shot map also, McNeil holds the width. His role is to come close to goal and be the support striker for whoever the striker is in that team. So I mean I wouldn't. Tielemans and Ndiaye couldn't let you get away with that one, Pras.
I mean, okay, fine. He's further forward, but then that also means that Tielemans gets more ball recovery points or CBIT points than Ndiaye. I'm not as inspired. If you were to force me to pick a 6.5, I would go Ndiaye just because there's not many options that are as competing. You give me an attacker that is nailed on, that is taking set pieces for 6.5. I would happily go there. Like Enzo Fernandez is another one. Like I think he's high up here as well.
Yes,
he's not too far.
Enzo, Neto, Ndoye are about the same, around Rice, Semenyo, Mitoma. Sarr is one of, like Ross mentioned, is going potentially under the radar primarily because of that game week 1 fixture. Again, settled role in a very settled team. Very high XGI numbers, lot of big chance involvement as we saw last year. Now, looking at that at the same price, obviously you think Palace is a much better attack than Everton. But again, with Ndoye, you throw in penalties, that's a big lure. But how many penalties will Everton get?
Yeah, that's the thing. They're not that team. But again, these are not exciting picks because they're not competing with many exciting picks. Like if Sarr was Eze at 6.5, nobody's having a discussion here. We pick Eze.
But should we find that 1 million? Because that's what I've been doing all morning, just where I can upgrade Ndoye to Eze. Because look at the difference, it is significant. Again, these are quantifying what we might think. And also, I would expect the gap in that 1 million to be even more. I think Eze is on for potentially a 200-point season. Endoy, I'd still expect around 140, 150, something like that.
So one
Can
part
I
I'm
just
thinking
say-
about.
Go ahead.
I think you guys are underrating Inda as a player. I think he's their best attacker. I think he was their best attacker under
I'm
Moyes
not
last year.
underrating him. I'm underrating the Everton attack in general.
I understand. But I just want to say that he is a second striker, good for minutes and on penalties and 6.5 million. Like we're he's got maybe not a very high ceiling, but he's got a good floor. In that, if Everton score 5 goals, he will get 2 goals and 1 assist in terms of goal share because that's how involved he is in Everton. Whereas that might not be the case with Crystal Palace. If you're talking about them being a better attack, if they get 8 goals, Sar could still also get 1 goal and 1 assist because they've got other goal scorers in Eze, Mateta, and Munoz, right? So it's not always rating the attack. It's about a talismanic figure, goal share, all of that as well, and penalties as well, right? So I just want to say that that's one thing, and I think he's genuinely he's their best attacker. He's genuinely a good player. Like I see him moving to a top 10 club a little later if his career progresses as this, because when Sheffield United also made it to the league, one of the reasons they immediately went down is because they lost their best player and their best attacker, and that was Ndai at that time. So he's just a good player, their best attacker. I'm not worried about minutes, whether Grealish comes in or not. So just wanted to add that for balance, because he's one of those picks that has been so template since the game started. And we're so sick and tired of seeing this 6.5 million boring Everton pick in our midfield. But it's us probably overthinking, in my opinion.
You're right.
Because he's
You're absolutely right. Spot on.
I get that, but I think Baker shared an image with us and I'll put it up on our Patreon later. There are a lot of games last season where he had straight up 0.0 XGI. That's the main concern with him.
Fair enough.
You will not captain him. You just basically hope that in the 6
Right,
weeks
but
you
again,
get him.
no set pieces.
He gets
The root
2
2 points.
DEFCON
I'm just trying to
games.
find something a little bit more with more root 2 points over there. And again, like LR mentioned, the Declan Rice example does apply. He does have set pieces, but again, much significantly less
By the
goal
way,
share.
Did you know he got defensive contribution points in 11 games?
And yes, I do.
That was his appeal.
That's a
I mean,
big
that's why he
appeal.
was there in the initial drafts. He
That is
has
his
pens and
additional
DEFCON.
appeal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he ticks a lot of boxes in that sense. Sar, I want to say there's actually this nice table that Prus shared, which is very interesting. If you could go to the Fraser one.
Yes.
Zoff.
Unfortunately, the stream deck had crashed earlier, so I'm struggling a little bit to find the scene. Just keep continuing. I'll look for it.
In general, there's an NPXGI per 90 number in there, and there's an XTC defensive contribution points per number 90 data
The
there.
Bruno chart.
The Bruno chart.
I know,
You
but the
see
problem
how
is it was all on the
far-
stream deck. Now, because that crashing, I'm struggling to find it a little bit, guys.
Take your time.
That's fine,
Zoff,
that's
that's
fine,
fine.
that's
We can
fine.
chat about him anyway. The point I'm trying to make is he's hanging around with Salah, Saka, Cole Palmer, De Bruyne for the NPXGI per 90. Like he's the only guy 6.5 million or below. If you look at the extreme bottom right there, hanging out with these guys for his non-penalty data. So again, he's one of those guys. Both are correctly priced 6.5 million because I think both of them are capable of going up a level and becoming sort of 7.5 million midfielders or 8 million midfielders if you look at them next season. Because Sar tends to get a lot of big chances for Palace, and he was frustrating because he missed quite a few of them, if you remember correctly, last year as well. So, he's got a higher ceiling and Ndai's got a higher floor. I think that's how I view both these players.
That's a fair comparison, I'd say.
Yeah.
So just on the point of Zoff, you saying how can you fit that slot? In fact, when I'm looking at my paths, and if everything works out right, if I'm thinking about my defense, don't want to touch that too much, don't want to touch Palmer, Salah, and Bruno. If things are working out, in game week after game week 3, transfer window shuts. That's why I'm thinking game week 4 is the time home to Sunderland. Eze becomes that pick for that slot. And if you need to make 2 transfers to get him, maybe, so for example, if I'm free hit 6, I don't need a Nottingham Forest defender after game week 3. So then you can basically do your Murillo to a Gehi if he's still there, or Richards, and you can upgrade that 6.5 midfielder, whoever you get, to an Eze. That's at least the 2 transfers that at the moment I'm happy to spend if nothing else changes between that period. Because I do agree with you, Eze is by far the best pick for that 4th midfielder slot that people are looking at.
That's a good shot. What about
Are there any
other
other
picks like
6.5 million picks?
Mitoma, I think potentially going under the radar a little bit.
quite a few people own him. Popular content creators. I've seen Mitoma in their drafts as well. Do you think he's better than Minte? What's your point there?
I think he's a bit better than Minte. Yes, more proven. I think potentially a bit more creative, bit more of a known quantity. But again, a lot of games where he does absolutely nothing. Not consistent enough for me. Doesn't have enough routes to points in terms of your set pieces. Probably won't get any defcon. And again, Brighton, just don't know which Brighton is going to turn up on any given day. Fixtures are also a little bit mixed.
Whichever Brighton turn up, right? Like, they're a team where you'll see 4-0 and you'll see 4 separate goal scorers and 3 other separate assisters as well. The goal share is quite divided. There's no talisman in the team as things stand. So that's the one thing that puts me off Brighton assets at the moment.
I don't understand the Mitoma pick at all. I see it in a lot of teams and I know why. But I don't understand it at all. Like, fixtures at bang average. He's not at the talisman. They've lost João Pedro. I don't get it.
Fair enough. Anything else in 6.5?
Just
Kudus. Let's talk
data,
Kudus,
by the
man.
way.
I think Kudus is quite popular.
Yeah.
Just I wanted to cite some data for Mr. Sar. I sorted the data for NPXG from Gameweek 28 to 38 on the Fantasy Football Scout members area. Last 10 Gameweeks of the season. You want to guess who was second? Mr. Sar. First was Diaz. And second for non-penalty XG was Sar. So he's an underlying data monster because he gets the big chances for that Palace team. So that's the high ceiling we're talking about. That's why he's hanging out with these guys. Man, I'm more intrigued in Sar as a pick now after looking at that data. Go on. Sorry, I cut you guys then.
No. It was. I think Kudus was what Zoff was saying. And I think Kudus, one of those things that happen as domino effects of FPL. Kudus was in every team. Because people are looking at bench boost 1 and going, Kudus cheap, game week 1, home to Burnley, very nice. Now, when Dubravka has moved, the bench boost window has moved to game week 2. Now people say Kudus, bench boost against away to City? Nah, not really. I think that's what has happened to Kudus. So I think he's still the same pick and he's still fine. But originally people were planning to maybe even bench him away to Man City in game week 2. Now they're like, if I have to bench boost, maybe I can find somebody else. But I think, yeah, he's fine. Spurs don't look that great, especially when Solanke isn't here. But I wonder if that is just narrative building and people just don't want to bench boost with Kudus away to City.
I'm not into Spurs picks at the moment. I think they've got more problems than most teams. The fixtures look very, very good and that might play into Thomas Frank's hands. But losing the 3 best creative players in that team in Maddison, Son and Kulusevski, it's a completely new team that's going to play under a new manager, and there's a lot of unlearning to do in terms of what in terms of what Ange told them. It's a completely different. Like, I'm happy to wait and see if I'm wrong on the Spurs situation, but I'm not interested at the moment. If Spurs score 4 goals in the last preseason game, then I'm in. But until then, I'm
not. Certainly the last preseason game. Then the Super Cup on Wednesday.
Yeah.
And they're going to be playing PSG. So I don't think they're scoring 4 goals.
You're not learning anything in that game.
All right, one quick run. Any 6.5 million midfielder that you're interested in? I'm very interested in Shirky, but one that I'm going to park. I'm talking about the City guys.
City.
Shirky, Bernardo, Doku, Grealish, Gundogan, Rodri. I'm just going to wait till game week 6 and see their roles before going there.
Nope.
I think Shirky could be
potentially, but I don't think game week
at
1.
That price.
I don't think at game week 1.
These are all, in my skeptical view, these are all picks that Pep has ruined for us. They'll all be good. They'll all score, but they'll never be consistently playing for us to say, let's just get them. Unless there's like 2-3 injuries or whatever. Apart from Haaland.
Fair shot.
At 6 million, this is not a lot, is there?
No, wait. Somebody, Enzo, is what Hoopras wants to talk about.
No, I just wanted to say that at 6.5, like people are looking at Mitoma. I think Enzo is and Sara are 2 picks that I like more than Mitoma.
Enzo's role might change a little bit this season from the way Danny mentioned. The way Maresca is using his fullbacks might be more traditional, in which case Enzo might not get that license this year. Something we need to watch out for.
Okay, we'll see. I mean, he did take set pieces as well. So for 6.5, again, good value. Like the guy trickled along quite nicely. I don't want to see FPL points or compare FPL points as such, but I don't think he'd be far off Sar, even despite the lower underlying data.
Cool, guys. Where else do we go?
6 million. Any picks that you guys like? Tielemans?
Tielemans is 6 million.
Yeah. Damsgaard, anybody interested in Damsgaard?
Nah, man.
He did well, 10 assists last year, but no, don't want to go there. Minte is interesting at that price, in my opinion. If somebody
At
wants to punt in a Brighton,
5.5, I'd be all over Minte. It just feels like 0.5 too much.
I agree with you. McNeil, Smith Rowe, Anthony, Mount, Sancho, no names. Joel
Paqueta.
Paqueta, yes, that's the one. Paqueta is the one. I think 3 or 4 returns, 4 returns in preseason, playing as the 10. That system, if you think about West Ham, they've got 2 good wing backs in Diouf and Van Bissaka. They've got 2 strikers in Bowen and Fulkrug, and a good creative midfielder in Paqueta supplying to them. It should work, right? I think he's on penalties as well, so he's decent as a pick. By the way, he's a very creative midfielder. Agree with that. How many assists do you think he got last season?
He didn't
6
play
for
that
West
much,
Ham.
did he?
But he had these issues last season, right? Off-field issues.
He played 2,400 minutes.
I'd
How
guess
many
6
assists do you think he got?
6?
Close.
Maybe-
Pras?
Probably few. I think you
I'm
have to
trying
go
to now
lower.
guess why the question.
You have to go
4.
lower. Yeah, probably 1. I
One.
knew it. As soon as I said 6, I was like, nah, I should have gone
Yeah, but
lower.
West Ham are rubbish. It's like the Everton discussion. Like you can get a player from that team that can be on penalties, but how many penalties will
I
they
mean-
get? And
So that being said, right, both teams, they changed their manager in the second half of the season, so the data is distorted a little bit by that sense. Moyes, Everton, obviously much better than Dyche. Potter's not so much, but I rate Potter as a manager very highly. He will get a tune out of that team eventually.
Yeah. And at 6 million on penalties, arguably playing in a good role as a 10 behind these two, he's a good pick at 6 million. I have nothing against him.
I don't
On
know,
penalties, 6
I
million.
think he's a fantastic player, but I just don't see him being FPL good. I don't see him being the output merchant we want.
Like, if somebody was asking me between Tielemans and Paqueta, who do you prefer? I would say Paqueta is still the number 10 on pens. Go for him.
That's
Like,
why you
that's the-
grass FC, my boy.
That's the thing.
no, Paqueta's high up in models as well. Don't worry.
Yeah,
If you
Paqueta's
have
up.
penalties and you're playing in an advanced role, don't worry about what the models say. They will like it.
Yeah. And even if you have 60% pen share and your Tielemans, models will like you. Sorry, I just wanted to add that.
I love that Tielemans shitting on the spot.
I think Baker's going to be proud of me as well. I think he went hard on Twitter as well with the Tielemans
Yep,
shitting
yep.
on. Yeah. All right.
5.5 is interesting.
Yeah, let me just see if we miss out on any 6 million midfielders. No. All right, 5.5. Arias is somebody who everybody's talking about from Wolves. I haven't seen much of him in the Club World Cup, but high potential. Wolves have decent fixtures. Could be a pick. I just haven't seen enough of him. What do you guys think?
I think he's a very,
Same.
very good player. I think he might be on penalties also. But potentially he's going to be Strand Larsen to start it. But in terms
Nah,
of
Stan
creativity,
Larsen will be on penalties.
most likely yes. But on set pieces, it's going to be Arias. He's going to be playing in an advanced role. He's going to be the creative engine of that team. I think, especially if you're not going Strand Larsen and you can afford to bench him in game week 1, I really like Arias. More so than Adingra, I think.
Yeah, good shot.
See,
I reckon so.
At that price point, okay, when we're talking Wirtz and we're saying, will he adapt to the Premier League? You're like, no, rubbish. Like, come on, of course he'll be fine. At his level, I'm still using that same argument and saying, let's see if he
But
adapts.
plus, you would get an Anderson over an Arias, so you're in a completely different school
Of course,
thought.
I mean,
also,
come
right?
on. Anderson is the GOAT. We don't even need to discuss 5.5 bracket. Like, why take a chance? You have a guy who'll score you 4 points every other game. And you can bench boost with him any fixture. So, of course, that's not even a discussion. But I'm humoring the Arias discussion and I'm saying it's another reason. Like, maybe he'll be in our teams later. But for now, I want to see how he adapts to the league.
With Anderson, there's also the Dougie Doug worry. I think Douglas Luiz to Forest is picking up pace. If that happens, and we're talking about Anderson potentially playing deeper as well, because Douglas Luiz does not defend.
And Luis could take off the set pieces, which, like, the appeal for Anderson is CBIT points for fun. In addition, he could take the corners that Elanga used to take on one side. He was already taking last year from the other side.
And he's good on set pieces.
He is.
He's good
He's
on set
generally
pieces.
also a very good player. Like, he's
a
capable
good
of popping
player.
up with
Absolutely. A
a
fantastic
few goals
player.
from outside the box as well. Like, he's just a great player. No problems.
You're
if you
basically
want to go.
getting, every time Forest keep a clean sheet, you're getting 3 points from him. 2 CBIT points and 1 clean sheet point. So you basically have a Forest defender.
What was his percentage for hitting DC? Do we have the
40 or
Significantly high. I
40%
think he's
out
pretty
of
much in the
memory.
top 5 for DEFCON amongst midfielders last season when I checked.
Interesting.
So let me go. You can go. I'm not plugging Solio here, by the way. But if you go on projections, you can actually look at CBET percentage chances. So let me go to midfielders,
And
and I
feel
can
free
tell
to
you
plug Solio,
exactly.
man. No problem.
I
Good
mean,
tool. Why not?
Don't have it here.
So
Much
Anderson's
pretty much
percentage
interested.
chances. Game week 1, 34% of getting CBIT points, 35%, 32%, 25, 27, 31, 35. 1 in 3 basically is expected CBIT.
All right. I'm going to give a not so broke, but a shout that I really like at 5.5 million, and that's Reinders. One thing, he becomes a lot more interesting to me if Rodri is fit. I looked back at some Club World Cup highlights, and when Rodri and Reinders played together, Reinders was giving a lot more license to go forward and sort of be that ancillary box crasher, in addition to whether Marmoush or Foden would play in that role. And he got 10 goals and 5 assists in the Serie A last season. So he was no mug in goal scoring. So if he has that Gundogan ancillary box crashing role in addition to playing alongside Rodri, he might be a very good 5.5 million pick. So keep an eye out for that. And I also think you don't need to be worried about his minutes. I think he's too good to not be first choice, in my opinion.
Kovacic, Rodri.
Rodri. And they bought him essentially to play out alongside Rodri. Only problem that I hate, something that City did, is they made Bernardo Silva captain. So will they play Bernardo Silva alongside Rodri in some games and compromise? But they don't have the legs, man. Reinders has the legs as well. They needed some more physicality and not old people like Gundogan and Rodri playing in the center of the park, not Kovacic playing in the center of the park, which is where Reinders works. I think he'll be first choice. I want to just give that a shout.
He has the potential to make 5.5 look like a joke. This I completely agree with you, that he has the Gundogan potential. And Loki, like game week 13, when City's fixtures are great, like he could be that enabler. You won't go Anderson, you'll go Reinders. I agree. But game week 1, I don't know.
I don't know, man. I think the minutes worry about Reinders. Game week 1 is a little overstated. Like, I believe in the player, I believe in his role. And all I need Pep to say is Rodri is fit. If Pep says Rodri isn't fit, I'm worried because Reinders might play deep lying then.
Yeah, but it'll change game to game, right? Again, Rodri won't be thrust into playing multiple games a week right away.
Yeah, I know, but like there were fitness doubts about Rodri, and that's my biggest concern with going Reinders as a pick. Because I want him to be the 8, not the 6 in that City team.
And it might change game to game.
Yeah.
Might even change within the game.
Playing, Rodri is the 6, right? That's the thing. City play with 2 players if they have a fully fit Rodri. So I'm keeping a close eye on Rodri's attention now, because I also want to play City. I also, from an X-Fun point of view, want to watch City like every week, and having no skin in the game is not fun.
Yeah, I think Nuri is going to be the one over there, but we digress.
Yep.
Who else you have 5.5? Let's talk Adigra. I really like him as a pick. I think the player has a high ceiling. I think good minutes for Sunderland. Sunderland also, I think Gui being there will help. Talby also gives him good service.
I was reading a little bit more about them. The manager, it's off when you said they already signed a 10-year contract.
Not 10-year, but long-term contract.
Sorry, long-term contract. He's very, very highly rated as a tactician amongst the, tactico accounts on Twitter as well. So, I like that their modus operandi is playing counter-attacking football. That's what they did last year. I think they were the team with the second highest number of counter-attacks in the championship last season. And I think that if you try to mimic that with more physicality, with players like Diarra and Xhaka as the base of your midfield, you can picture Adingra getting a few goals on the counter when they're defending and then him running beyond. So it works as a pick. He scored an offside goal in the last game as well. I don't mind it. I think he's good for minutes as well. He's way too good to not be first choice in that team.
Plus, if you were to pick a 5.5 other than Anderson, who would it be?
I think Adingra is good. Although if you give me a little bit more on Reinders, then I could be convinced as well. So I think I like those 2 options. But I don't want a pick which becomes a problem in game week 4. Then it's annoying, right? I don't want to fix my 5.5 midfielder, man.
I mean, someone like Adingra is never really going to be a problem as such, especially except on the fixtures turn, I guess. Even then, he's going to be on the counter attack necessarily. In terms of minutes, he's not necessarily going to be a problem. You might not like the pick, eventually, but it's most likely not relying on that 5.5 guy every week anyway.
But how many players have they signed? Like, I have no clarity. I know Adingra will start, but is he going to play 90 minutes every game? No. Like, I don't think so. They've signed so many players. They themselves don't know what is their first 11 right now.
At the moment, it looks like Luffy is going to be playing left 10. He was their second.
He didn't even start the last friendly.
That's okay. He was their best performer in the second half of last season. Like, he's a baller that I've been looking into Sunderland because I've been in the market for a bench boost. He did play for them in the second half of last season. They signed him in January.
Yeah. Okay, I didn't know that.
On loan in January, and he was one of their best players, absolute baller. It's between Manda and Gyu for the striker position. Manda gets a lot of chance. They gave him an extended contract just 3 days ago, Manda. And it's between them. Manda gets a lot of chances, but he's like Jackson Mini in terms of tends to miss them as well. So he's not a great finisher. Whereas Gyu is much more technical as a striker. So it's between those two for that position. Maybe they play with both, I don't know. And Adingra's got the right-sided wing slot locked in, is what I understand. And then Diarra and Xhaka and one more midfielder playing in midfield as a 4-3-3 or 4-3-2-1. 4-2-3-1, sorry.
I like the Adingra pick, especially if you're looking at potentially a bench boost too. He's away to Burnley.
Even Luffy at 5 million is fine in my opinion as a pick. I'm not worried about his minutes.
So I think let's move on to the 5 million bracket. Let's not spend much time there. I think if you want your defensive contributions, Baliba is the one. I think it's very similar to Anderson.
Caicedo is how much?
Caicedo
is also 5.
No, I think he's 5.5 plus.
Oh, is he? Okay.
I don't think he's 5. But then someone who is big on our Discord right now is Pape Matissa at Spurs. In Maddison's absence, he's been playing in that number 10 role, but I just can't see that sustaining long term. I don't think he has the skill set for that role. He certainly has the engine, but the creativity is just lacking a bit there, especially when you consider they will be playing 3 games a week this year.
And with Maddison done for 7 months, I don't see Spurs not buying a 10.
Because Kulu is also, I think, still out for a bit.
Yeah. I think Spurs will buy a 10.
Man. You're just basically getting some short-term dopamine hit by going Sar, that he'll play in the 10. If he does nothing, then, you're stuck because then they will sign somebody.
Yes.
Yeah, then he's Anderson.
then he's worse than Way Anderson. Yeah.
I just wanted to throw that in.
Anderson will be 5.7 by then. So, no, he can't.
I think he's a good pick. I have nothing wrong with Anderson as a pick. In fact, I rate him as a player. I think he's a little bit underrated for his goals and assist potential as well, because he has that ability to go up a level in terms of goal share as well.
That's the thing. Nuno gives him that license to go forward. But again, we shall see. Let's wrap up the 4.5. I think there's just one name.
No, 5 million. Just want to throw a name in there. Keep your eye out for Carvalho. Could be playing as right wing if they don't buy anybody. Though they're in the market for Utara at the moment. And if Utara happens, Vissa goes to Newcastle as well. But just keep an eye on Carvalho. He could find a front 3, front 4 Brentford player at 5 million. Just keep an eye out there.
Yep. And yet, the 4.5, there's just one pick right now that's on the radar. Josh King, watch out for Fulham's final preseason friendly.
Sorry, Zoff, you're wrong. Generational Josh King.
Generational Josh King. All Josh Kings are generational, aren't they?
All of them are, man. Bournemouth Josh King was the legend.
Absolute legend. Do you remember the Gameweek 38 when he tweeted he's not in the team?
No, I don't remember that.
Yes, absolutely. I think LR does. He posted on Instagram or something that he's not in the team. It does it well before the deadline. We all transferred him out.
Really? I did not know that.
Such a casual then. I don't know.
Yeah. But yeah, man.
This mid's done.
The Fulham clash of the correspondent guy said that if he's playing the next friendly starting, there's a good chance, there's a 60% chance he could be the 10 for Fulham. Then he's having him in his team for the Game Week 1 bench boost at 4.5 million.
Somebody we missed, Dewsbury Hall, the chat just reminds us. I don't think it's an option to start with. I think Everton, he might get consistent minutes, but just not enough game time in the last few months, I think, to get up to full match sharpness.
Yeah, I don't know about his sharpness, but I think he's an upgrade on Alcaraz. I rate him, and I think he'll be somebody as a consideration. 12 goals and 14 assists in that promotion season for Leicester.
So there's a little bit of news from City. They've left out a few players for their friendly. Guardiol, which is big. Rodri is left out. Foden. Ooh. I mean, this is obviously because of fitness or whatever, right?
Are they doing the double friendlies again, like 2 friendlies in 2 days? I'm not sure what their schedule is. Because that's what Chelsea are doing.
It's just the one.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just the one, I think. And Phillips, obviously Kovacic, McAtee, Grealish is left out as well. Ortega is left out as well. So that's a big list of people who are left out. Some clues on
It'd be
on
interesting to
game
see if
week one,
Trafford
but
starts that one.
Yeah, the Rodri
Yeah.
being left out is impacting us from not going for a defender maybe also, as well as puts me a little off Reindeers as well.
Cool, guys. Let's move on to
All right,
forwards.
man. Wait, take a breather. Take a breather. Before we move on to forwards, there's about 1,000 people watching us and only 230 likes. We've got because it's a big midfielder pod, and we're already an hour and a half into the conversation. I've just done midfielders as well. We'd appreciate if you show some love. We've got a 2,000 like target for this video. So if you hit the like target, it really helps us with the algorithm. And we're about 1,200 subscribers short from our Gameweek 1 goal. Why don't you tell people, just get us to 40,000 before Gameweek 1. We really want that to happen.
Yep, it would be fantastic, guys. And thanks for all. We've hit about, I think we've grown about 1,800 subs over preseason so far. Getting another 1,200 would be absolutely sweet. So we'd appreciate that.
All right, strikers. We've already done Haaland. So let's
we sort
go
of covered
to...
Watkins as well.
Yeah, we had folk talk about his
there are
9
no
million count.
forwards to pick, man. I think we're done. Like forwards are so rubbish this year.
Why do you
Let's
say
talk
that?
about
though?
Gyökeres.
What has changed?
Yeah,
Why
go
do you
on,
think
go
forwards
on.
are rubbish?
Let's talk the meta.
Why do I think forwards have changed? Because midfielders get more points through other routes now. They were already getting 1 more point for a goal. They were already getting a clean sheet point. Now they also will get more DEFCON points. So if you're debating between two picks, now it's an even higher
But they get
route
the
for them to
bonus
catch
still,
up.
Plus for the goals, I think that's still there, right? Forwards get more bonus
Not for
points
penalties,
the
but for the score, they will score. Yeah, of course, if you get a talismanic forward, then yes. But my question is, if you take out Isak from the game and Haaland, for the reasons we've discussed, Haaland is great. I'm not saying anything against him. But if you're not picking Haaland, if you're not picking Isak because of the uncertainty, then the natural next one is Watkins. Gyökeres is a little bit of a question mark. Like I'm going through the list quickly, but that's where I am at least. Then it quickly comes down to then are the others worth it when you start comparing it to a similar priced midfielder? And then quickly you can also come down to very cheap strikers are available that could be on penalties. So you just go cheap up top. So at least that's where I have landed in my draft, where there's some penalty taking cheap forwards, and that's the route I would rather go down and play 4-5-1 or 3-5-2 some weeks. But you don't necessarily have to play 3 forwards at all, ever.
Especially now that you have Gui in there, I think Gui just becomes... let's just tackle that, get that out of the way first. Is he sort of an auto pick now?
No, he's not in my current draft.
That's interesting. And
Especially if you're thinking of bench boost, you don't have to do it.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, again, if you guys haven't watched the Danny pod on Monday, he was very, very bullish on Gui's prospects. And right now, Sunderland also have the second forward, I think, Isidore. Apologies if I got the name wrong. He's injured, so you might see the minutes for Gui go up quite early than you think. And again, like if you're picking just with the game week 2 bench boost in mind plus, I think that's not the right way to do it, because just long term, I think for the first 10 to 12 weeks, he's just such a good enabler. As your 8th attacker, you're not going to get that value in midfield just because you want to bench boost. Are you missing out on potentially one of the best bargains in the game? Is that a good meta tactic?
No, so to be clear, I'm looking to bench boost, but still going for him.
See,
Because I don't mind if he gets me a 1 point appearance point, and I don't also have to bench boost in game week 2, right? If you have a keeper that plays, a 4 million keeper, if you have a 4.5 striker who eventually plays, you have a 4 million defender that plays,
just bench boost any
whichever
week.
week you feel like it.
Any week you have Gui has a good fixture. He alone could make up 13 points on the bench boost.
But I can understand if you can spend just $1 million more, and for 5.5 you can get a penalty taking striker as well. Now we can have a debate and we'll come to those if there are such strikers available like Beto and others, but Beto actually doesn't even take penalties. But for 6 million there are lots now. They are emerging. So I can see people saying, you know what, I don't want a dead spot, or I don't want a spot which eventually becomes a problem. So he's not an auto pick, but I think, yeah, he'll be very popular.
Yeah, like eventually it's going to be a decision, let's say for the 7th or 8th attacker, between an Anderson or a 6 million penalty taking striker, for example, right? Like that's the decision that you're going to have to make week on week, every week, if you're looking at
or
those
your
two
4th
spots.
defender.
Or your 4th defender as well. So I don't think a 6 million penalty taking striker is completely out of the race. And I want to take 2 names in terms of Thiago and Fulkrug. I think both are very, very good, underrated strikers for, in my opinion, could be teams placed between 8th and 15th, not 8th and 15th, 10th and 15th in the league, I reckon. who could have a high percentage of goal share as well. So that's where I am. I mean, I'm open to Gui, but like if it seems like Manda is going to be starting the season and Gui's minutes at the start of the season look dodgy, then I don't think I'll have him in my team. I want to have him because he enables a lot, but I'm very, very sure because. So my entire premise is I think we might want to wildcard game week 6 and I don't want to shut myself off from it. And when I wildcard, I 100% want to be done with bench boost if I can help it. So that's why I'm very bullish on a aggressive bench boost 1 or 2. Which is why if Gui is looking dodgy at the start of the season, I'll avoid it.
But you say that, Alar, you were on the bench boost, that's on a thin bench, but even now most of us are still going with the 4.0 goalkeeper, you're still going with that 4.0 fifth defender and the 4.0 striker. So you're still going very light on your bench boost. Is that necessarily a reason to shift it earlier?
It's also because I'm happy with my team without a Gui in there as well. I'm happy with my team. Like I don't feel the need to change. Like, yeah, that's like I'm happy with the composition of my team and how it works through to game week 6 or to game week 11-12 if I manage to go deeper as well. That's where I am.
Cool. Let's start talking some of these picks. I think Watkins we've covered a little bit.
Gyökeres. We need to talk about Gyökeres. We can't ignore him fully. Where are you guys at the start of the season?
From what I saw, he didn't look up to mad sharpness yet, and Arsenal still haven't found the right way to unlock him. I think he's a wait and watch for me.
Yeah, same here. Wait and watch. Also, just Arsenal and Liverpool look like day and night in terms of the attacking quality. That said, it's unfair because Arsenal didn't play their first choice. But I don't like the fact that they haven't solved their left forward problem. And I could just play a couple of the tough games at the start of the season. I'm not sure if Gyökeres might play, and that's something that worries me always, Inkling, because I don't think Kai Havertz is going to go down not doing anything. He's a very, very important player, very big player. Arteta loves him as well. So I actually think that they'll end up playing first choice Kai and Gyökeres both together because both like to drift down the left. So they work together well. So I think actually Arsenal's first choice front three might be Kai, Gyökeres and Saka if they don't sign anybody.
Plus, anything to add on Gyökeres?
Like if I wanted to spend that money, I'd start with Watkins.
Watkins, yeah.
Proven, better fixtures, and then you move later if you really want.
What if Saka and Gyökeres are on the pitch together over the weekend? They win a penalty and Gyökeres takes it. What happens then?
I'd be tempted. Yeah. But I need to know that he's on it, and it's not that Saka is being charitable because of preseason and
just
he
to get him
hasn't
the
scored
first goal,
which we won't know. So the answer is still I won't get him.
No, but like I think if he takes the pen, if both are on the pitch, Gyökeres is on pens. Like it's just something about a selfish striker who hits 12 out of 12, 19 out of 19 pens, if I'm not mistaken, last season. Like that's a bloody good record.
It could still be sharing though, LR. The way they did it with Odegaard last year, it could still be there, but very likely I do agree with what you're saying. But
it's World Cup year, man. Saka is not just going to give them away like that.
If there is anybody who's going to give them away like that, it's Saka.
No, as in not permanently. What I mean is permanently he will not give them away. It will be a sharing kind of situation.
I'm not sure, man. Like I if you were going to make me guess right now who's on pens for Arsenal, I think it's Gyökeres. There's something about a selfish.
But again, it's a guessing.
It's a guess, only guess. I'm saying that's why I gave you the presumption that if they're on the pitch together,
even after that, I would say it would be a guess.
Like even if you see it with both of them being on the pitch together.
Yes.
Cool. All right.
Moving on with Ekitike, 8.5. Not really a pick right now. It's with the Isak
not a pick at right now.
Let's not spend time there.
Isak also at Liverpool we don't talk about right now.
No point. We never know. Newcastle Twitter will absolutely destroy us.
No, and the other thing is, Newcastle, even though they are open to selling, they're in the market for like strikers, right? I can see right now, Kolo Muani is being talked about, Wissa is being talked about. What are Newcastle going to do? They're going to delay the Isak transfer until Newcastle themselves play Liverpool. They're not going to sell him before Liverpool are coming to St. James's Park. So that's game week 2. So Isak's not going to get a game for the first 2 game weeks anyway. So we don't even need to talk about it.
One for the wildcard or later in the season.
Yeah.
All right.
Skip Ekitike. Move on. Bowen. Bowen is a very, very interesting pick, I think, at 8. Very good pick. If you can get there, I absolutely think he's an upgrade on the 7.5 guys.
Yeah, he's the new fish and chips, isn't he? Like you don't fancy him, but he'll keep scoring points.
Absolutely. Now, let me see if I can load up the
But he
stats
doesn't
from
have fish
last
and chip
season.
qualities, man.
Yeah, he doesn't have pens.
This is
That's the
He
attacking
doesn't have pens,
returns
but
in
he's
the
a talisman.
second,
He's a talisman.
Yeah.
second half of the season. To go in terms of goals and assists, Bowen had 12. Only I think 4 other players had more. That's Visa, Isak, Bumo, and Salah. He had a very strong finish.
Very strong. That's all three of us didn't have a great end to the season because we didn't have Bowen.
Or Eze.
Screwed us week on.
Eze
Yeah,
also had
screwed us
12
week.
returns over there.
Yeah. My only issue is, right, I don't like the fixtures for an 8 million striker after game week 1. Chelsea, Forest, Spurs. Actually, Chelsea now are a little bit better with Colville looking out for.
But he'll play a bit more
Weil.
conservatively that game, Potter.
Yeah. Forest, Spurs, Palace, Everton, Arsenal. Like, these are all largely defense first teams. So that's my problem with Bowen. But like with Bowen, 1 goal. He's also got high percentage of goal share. So that's the thing.
It's a notification we talk about it. West Ham goal, we just assume it's either Bowen or assist.
Yeah. Which teams have this? Villa have this. Forest have this.
To
West
an
Ham have this.
extent, Palace, maybe you'd expect Eze to be involved somehow if Eze is really on it, but not as much.
Not as much. Palace have 4 clear
Yep.
attackers. So it's
Forest,
like not
absolutely,
always.
like you mentioned, usually it's Chris Wood.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Pedro, 7.5 million.
Very interesting. I think we touched upon him a little bit. I think I'm much more bullish on him after the pod with Danny. I think I'm pretty optimistic on his minutes, man. I think he's very good as a player. I think we're going to try to play Palmer on the right potentially a little bit more, in which case you might see Pedro also playing in the number 10 a little bit alongside Delap. But again, Ella, the point you mentioned when we spoke, he could be a player who's not necessarily good for FPL, not the output merchant, and he's never been that in his career. I think even at Brighton, he had only 5 non-penalty goals, if I'm not mistaken. So again, he might make Palmer a little bit better, but will he be FPL good necessarily? I don't know that yet.
But he's capable of that step up.
He's capable of that, definitely, and he's the
He's
player who
got
has
big
that
dog
ego.
energy.
He's got absolutely. That's the word I was going to say. Yet he wants to be the main man. You can see the first game he'd want to announce himself at the bridge as the next world-class player. So I think that I wouldn't put anyone off going.
Same. But at the moment, I'm debating. I'm open to Pedro, but for the 7.5 million striker in my team, I'm debating Wood and Mateta. So I'll tell you all where my head is. Like Wood's fixtures, having Brentford at home, West Ham at home, Burnley and Sunderland, if I'm not mistaken, in the first 6. This looks like I don't see a world in which Wood doesn't score 3 goals in the first 6 games. But the problem is Danny rightly pointed out, there's a lot more problems with Wood now as a pick. Because he's 34 years old. Is he primary striker? What about Taiwo? We asked these questions last year.
Langa had 11 assists last season. You're taking out 11 assists from that team. It's huge.
Did you see the preseason friendly though?
I saw the lineup they played. I didn't watch any of it.
I think Forest might have upgraded. Endo was good. He impressed me. By the way, we completely ignored the 6 million midfielder. Watch out for Endo at 6 million. He looked really, really good. I thought he had talent. He played closer to goal as well. Watch out for him.
You like him more so than Hudson-Odoi?
Yeah. And I think he's going to be thrown straight in. He looked good. He impressed me. I'm going off the one preseason extended highlight situation, but he impressed me. He caught my eye immediately. I thought he was good. So I'm not worried too much about the Elanga situation there because he might be an upgrade on Elanga. Are you worried about Wood's minutes? That's my only question.
A little bit, yes, I think with Taiwo. And then again, it depends on which competition they are. If they are in the Europa League, as it stands, I would be a little bit worried because you see, again, Forest want to go very strong in that. And I think, again, you see 70 minutes out, you still see starts. But again, 3 starts a week necessarily for a 30-plus Wood is concerning.
Yeah. So that's what I'm debating, right? Mateta doesn't have the fixtures. I want to see what happens with Eze, but we won't find out in Game Week 1. Because that downgrades Mateta's value a lot. And I also want to see what happens in the hearing on Monday, because if Palace play Europa League, then they have a clear slate first 3 weeks, which makes me bullish about them. One big thing that has happened is Nekta is out for the first 6 weeks because of injury. So that takes Mateta's minutes up a lot. I think I see 80 plus minutes in the first 6 games for Mateta. And also Mateta I think he's an incredibly good striker, but he's a little bit of a Diego Jota. In the sense, when he's hot, he's hot. Like he's streaky. He strikes to me as streaky. When you see he's in a good enough form, there will be 6-7 games where he'll hit 6-7 goals. It'll just happen because he's on it at the moment, and he's really on it at the moment. So I'm having a very old school form versus fixtures debate because there's a spot for a 7.5 million striker in the team, and I'm debating Wood and Mateta at the moment, and I want to see where I am by the end of it, because I think Mateta is the form guy, better attacking team in my opinion, but Wood has the fixtures and pens.
So a lot
Or
of
let's say Wood has 100% pen share, Mateta has 35% pen share.
That's
I would
fair.
say.
I think that we're looking at primarily 4 names in the 7.5 bracket. That's Wood, Mateta, Solanke, and Pedro. Plus, who do you like?
Yeah.
None.
None of them. That's
I mean,
interesting.
I think João Pedro has a good ceiling. João Pedro has a good ceiling, but I also think he's classic case of too many people picking him, blanking first game week, and drops in price by 0.2. And like I don't want that.
But plus, what
because
about
I
the
don't
other
think...
side of the coin? Let's say now he braces at 50 to 60%.
He's a wide
ownership.
bell curve guy.
Yeah, fine. I'll say good luck, man. That's great. Like, I'm not going for him because I don't think he has that long-term same appeal. If that changes, if his minutes become 80, 90 minutes, I think he's going to be subbed off regularly on between 60th to 70th minute. They can't just sign Delap and never play him again.
That's what I said.
So-
Pedro can play as a 10 with Palmer on the right.
They can play together also.
Absolutely.
Who will they take
Yeah.
off? Like Enzo or Palmer? Like,
Neto.
He can.
Right now, you might shift Neto to the left because right now we don't have any traditional right wingers.
then Pedro moves to the right. If I see it, I'll change my opinion. But at the moment, in the Club World Cup, the evidence has been he's taken off before the 70th minute. And if he keeps scoring, good luck. Like, I'll go for it. But at the moment, I don't like, this is me, man. João Pedro, I love him. But that was João Pedro on penalties, 90 minutes.
And at
This is not
5.5.
the same João Pedro. Yeah. This is last season when the pricing was made. You remember I texted you guys, they've made a mistake. João Pedro is 5.5. So that's not the case now. So I'm saying he could be a good pick. But is he worth 7.5 million versus a Thiago, which is 6 million, who could also be on penalties? Now, obviously, Chelsea is much better than Brentford, but 1.5 million is a lot. Strand Larsen, who's 6.5 million. I think those are also decent picks. So I don't want to spend too much on my forwards because I don't find a 90-minute penalty taker in any of these guys above 7 million.
Wood.
He's not 90 minutes. Like, I don't think this year he'll be 90 minutes.
No, I don't think so either. I mean, it's only Solanke we were looking at, but Solanke's fitness has completely put us off now. He didn't even play against Bayern.
Solanke, great pick. Yes, of course. We didn't talk about him. Solanke would have been in my team if he plays in preseason because he's the Thomas Frank striker who could be on penalties or very likely to be on penalties now that Maddison is out, Son has left. Now that's a pick. Like, I would be happy to go for him at 7.5 million.
If he starts in the Super Cup, would he interest you or would just a lack of preseason
He's
still
played
put you off?
0 minutes in preseason.
I
0.
agree.
So I just wanted to address a couple of things. Somebody in the chat field FPL said that Palace are slow starters. That's very contextualized. I don't think it's a perfect example of correlation equals causation, because last year they lost Olise, they lost another big player if I'm not mistaken, and Mateta was playing in the Olympics. So they didn't have a proper preseason with the same team, etc., which is exactly the opposite of what has happened for Palace this preseason. The same team starting together has played 2 or 3 games in a row. They're looking sharp, they're looking good, and all the main players are starting. So that's why I think they will start off the blocks fast. Only if Eze sticks around. That's the biggest crucial factor in this situation. And whether they'll have to play midweek Europe or not. But Solanke is the same situation. Solanke stinks of Mateta last year. Great fixtures at the start of the season. But how sharp will he be? Even if he plays, like, how sharp will he be? Like, not having minutes or juice in his legs. He's a great player, but I don't expect him to be like flourishing at the start of the season. And you're talking about a completely new system there, which I think will improve in defense first before it improves in attack with Spurs.
Should we move on to the next price bracket? I mean, let's all pick off us. If we had to pick one guy at 7.5, because this is a big one.
I'd go Chris Wood if I had to, because I don't think he loses minutes that quickly. I think if you were to ask me, will I have Chris Wood if I start with him by game week 7? No. First 5-6 game weeks, great fixtures.
I'd agree with you. If given carte blanche, I think it would be Wood for me.
I'm between Mateta and Wood, dependent on Eze news by the time the week ends. But I'm open to being seduced by João Pedro this weekend.
Of course you got it. As for reasons we know already.
Yes, that's where I am. I'm really feeling big JP, man. But I need Eze to be there. That's all.
Yep. Let's move on to the next bracket now. I think we're looking at Evanilson, Welbeck and Strand Larsen at 6.5 to 7. And I think there's a clear winner over here, Pras, and the projections over here do back it up. Strand Larsen's numbers are very, very high. You wouldn't expect him to be above the likes of Wood, Mateta and Evanilson. And why do you think that is?
I think they've assumed penalties, firstly, which is not 100%, but is likely. And they've assumed that he takes up the goal share which Cunha has left behind, which he showed last season. When Wolves scored, when Cunha was out, his goal share went up a lot. So,
he was a much better player without Cunha.
Correct. So
Yeah,
I
'cause
think a lot of
Cunha's not
people are
shooting from the
not
halfway
going
line.
there. Yeah. A lot of people are not going there because of the Man City fixture in Game Week 1. But I think he's a solid pick. He plays all the 3 promoted teams in this first 12-week horizon. I think that's a big thing. Because if you are looking at a Game Week 13 wildcard, if that is what people's horizon is, you need to decide your picks also based on your horizon. You want the 3 promoted teams, your penalty-taking striker, to be playing them. And he does that.
Cool. So, but let's talk about Evanilson a little bit. I think in terms of Danny Welbeck, I think we are all a little bit concerned about his game time. I know, Pras, he was in any of your earlier drafts. What do you think?
I think Van Hilsen is good as well.
No, I'm talking
No,
about
no,
Welbeck.
Welbeck is what-
Welbeck primarily.
Oh,
first.
Welbeck. So it's basically the fact that he's 34 and I'm less sure about his injuries and things, but I like him as a pick, but I feel it feels more short term the more I've thought about it. Like when I was thinking about starting either Strand Larsen or Welbeck, initially the instinct was Welbeck's fixtures early on are better. But then I was like, okay, he also has good fixtures, game week 10 to 12. Do I want to keep him for 12 weeks? Can I trust him? Then I thought, Strand Larsen, young guy from Norway. I want an Norwegian striker. I just thought maybe he's the guy. And I spoke to a couple of Brighton fans. They think short term he's fine, but his minutes could start to get affected. They could play O'Reilly as the 10 and Rutter could play up top. So there are ways where he's not 100% as nailed, and then fitness notwithstanding, like he's not always the fittest guy, right?
Yep. And I know you're going to big up Evanilson, Pras. The two of you have never been seen in the same room. So obviously you like the pick.
I like the pick. I think Van Hilsen is a good pick, especially now that Kluivert isn't there. He takes penalties as well. He took one last season when Kluivert wasn't on the pitch. He missed it, but I think if he's got penalties, Bournemouth fixtures after Game Week 1, very nice. I don't think it's a bad
big
pick.
chance machine. He does get a lot of big chances funneled. Although we do say Bournemouth don't have a clear talisman in terms of percentage of big chances, he's by far the highest in that team.
But he also misses a fair few of them.
He does.
I'm an Evanilson owner for a significant period from last to. So I've been watching him. Right, Bournemouth are weird, man. I remember if you guys, I mentioned a couple of times, I liked it when Harry Brooks played, which was good for Evanilson. Because Semenyo and Kluivert are a little bit selfish. When they're outside the box and etc., they like to take a shot. And that's the problem with Evanilson. So which is when the ball comes, sometimes it's a big chance because they don't tend to play otherwise. There's not a lot of interplay otherwise. But from a fixture, so that's why in my head I would prefer Evanilson if there is opposition that affords them space rather than him playing deep blocks, which is why I actually like the fixtures for Evanilson at the start of the season. I like Liverpool as a fixture. I like Wolves, Spurs, Brighton, Newcastle, Leeds, Fulham. Only one potential deep block there, Newcastle. Otherwise, everybody is going to afford Bournemouth some space and they will take advantage of that. So I like the matchups for Evanilson at the start of the season. I'll say that. But he's a little bit of a weird striker. Doesn't take as many shots, but a higher percentage of his shots are big chances. He's not the focal point of an attack like how Strand Larsen is.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Or Fulcrook is, for example, right? So it's a little bit of a, weird, but he's a good pick, but in a weird way.
I like Strand Larsen. I think between these 3 picks you're talking about, he's clear favorite for me. Again, very likely to be on penalties. It's a chance Arias could take them. But again, absolutely sharp end of the stick for Wolves. Very consistent minutes. I think 90 minutes are going to be very likely. We don't even see subs. Because with Evanilson, randomly you might see Utara chucked in at around 75-80 minutes.
Well,
so
Utara might go actually, but
he
yeah.
might go to
this
Newcastle,
Krupi
but
Jr.
in which case they probably signed somebody else as well in the centre forward role. You might see Krupi Jr. also feature in that role at times. So I think
also, just worth noting that Bournemouth attack is miles ahead of Wolves attack.
Absolutely. Bournemouth are a top 6 attack.
There was that top 6 exactly. There was a time last year in the first half of the season where they were top 4 attack, like in terms of generating underlying data as well. So he's got that ceiling. It's worth mentioning that it was his first year in the league. So the learning curve is also done. Like he replaced Solanke and it was a move that might not work. He's had a year of experience in the Premier League. He could make a step up as well. Go on, Pras, we're cheering for you.
No. Oh, sorry. Yeah, you mean the other
Just
person.
it's a 2 hour pod when it happens for us. So, let's talk about, let's just pick one if we had to of these three. Strand Larsen for me, and I think the price is also a factor. That 0.5 million can go a long way.
I'll go Evan Nielsen.
See the fixtures difference also, right? I mean, you're saying yes, Bournemouth are a better attack, no doubting it. But Stan Larsen is playing Everton at home. He's playing Leeds at home.
I don't think that's a
Sunderland
good
away.
fixture for attacker. I don't think Everton is a good
But
fixture.
I think the Bournemouth fixture actually
At
is a very
home.
good one for Strand Larsen as well, given how decimated Bournemouth are at the back.
Bournemouth is a good fixture. I don't like these guys against
And I don't
deep
even think
blocks.
City is a bad fixture. If you look at Liverpool versus Man City, which is a better fixture for your attackers, is definitely Man City. Liverpool at Anfield is still much tougher than City rocking up to Wolves, I think.
See, I'll tell you what my issue with Strand Larsen is. Like, I see a world in which they're deep in a relegation battle, especially if Leeds show up the way everybody's expecting them to, and if Brentford don't go down. Like, there's a way in which they just don't come outside of the bottom five. It's like that's the ceiling. Whereas
bookies do agree with you. They are the projected bottom 6 at the end of the season. But I rate the manager too highly.
But LR, that doesn't matter, right?
I know, but I'm just giving the comparison. Like Bournemouth.
Like Cunha was in a relegation battle.
Agreed, but and the goal share thing is there. But if Evan starts getting more chances, like Bournemouth are a team that will be top 10 for XG.
Yes.
Just because of how good Iraola is.
That's their style.
Like that's the conversion that I'm trying to make. And with Bournemouth, right?
But they share the goals.
Yeah, they share the goals. That's the problem. Semenyo is a problem for Evan Nielsen because he doesn't pass. Yeah. So that's what. And 100% pens for Strand Larsen. If Clivewood's fit, then Evan Nielsen's not on pens.
It's not 100%, but I think 80-20. Very likely.
Yeah. Cool.
I think
6 million.
6 million. There's very limited players over there. It's just Fulkrug
and
Thiago.
Thiago's on my team.
No, that's what
and I feel pretty good about him.
Fulkrug and Thiago. There's nobody else, I think, right? At 6.
Yeah. I think I'm not too worried about Brentford like everybody else is in general. I think like Brighton, they're good at having this level of displacement in general. Maybe I'm building a story, but I don't think the players at the club are bad. Like I rate Sharda, I rate Damsgaard. So I think there's enough creativity and juice in attack. I think the defense is used to playing with each other. Like I think Collins and Van der Berg is a very tight partnership. We didn't mention this in the defender pod, but I was looking into Van der Berg, and when the times they started together, Van der Berg hit DC slightly higher than Collins, if I'm not mistaken, because Van der Berg used to play wing back as well as centre back. And I think I saw a report, I think it was on Scout when they're doing the team articles, when they both played together, Van der Berg as CBs, Van der Berg hit DC for a higher percentage. And he's a 4.5 million defender in case people looking for a potential DC monster also. So that's Brentford. I'm not too worried about them. I think Kelleher is a great shot stopper. In general, the team is fine. They got Yarmolenko to replace Norgard, who was aging anyway. I don't think there's big problems in that team. A 6 million striker who's, I think, on pens, in a team where he's going to be main man, who's Brentford's highest value signing in the history of Brentford signings. They never spend more money on any other player. It's a shot in the dark that I like.
The Utada news is gathering pace, so that's what the chat is pointing out. So like you said, he might start the season, but there will be some minutes share there, I think.
No.
Utada could play on the left, no?
Yeah, no, Utada's a Vista replacement.
They have to have some sort of striker replacement. They cannot go into the season with just one centre forward on their books.
Yeah, but if you're comparing, Utada's like sort of Vista, and Thiago is like Tony in terms of focal points.
I absolutely know nothing about Thiago, so full disclosure there.
Yeah, that's fair. That's the point. Utada is more like semi-winger, sort of half striker. This guy is a proper focal point striker.
For sure.
Who took pens for his previous club?
Yeah, quite high on the analytics models, this one and on review as well.
And I saw all their highlights.
That's interesting.
So I like him. Yeah.
I think Fulkrug is a bit of an unknown again. In terms of minutes.
I was talking to the Discord about it also. I don't think he's unknown. Like Eno made a very good point actually. I was chatting with him. He's like he's a German international, and what he's known for throughout his career is overperforming his underlying data. He's a good finisher. So if you're again trying to picture how West Ham are going to play, 2 wing backs who keep crossing the ball in, a creative second striker in Bowen and a number 10 in Paqueta, his role is to be present in the center of the box and finish everybody's chances. If Potter ball gets clicking the way it does. And I think his minutes are fine at this season. I was asking about his fitness because he crumbled last year, and is giving me the example that I keep giving everybody. He's fit until he's injured. So underrated striker. I'm interested in both these 6 million strikers. I think they're a little bit underrated.
I think it's Thiago because Fulkrug, I just don't trust him enough. It feels like it might be a transfer out waiting to happen. With Thiago, I can still get on board.
Also, same thing that I like to mention about Bowen that I mentioned about Fulkrug. The fixtures after Gameweek 1 against Sunderland. Yeah. But it's easier to digest that at 6 million than it is at 8 million. That's all.
That's true. Move on to the last bracket at 5.5.
Yeah, there's those championship strikers, right?
Yeah.
Pretty much, and Beto.
Pirro. Oh, Beto we should talk about. I don't think Beto is a pick, personally. Like,
I don't think he's
already
a pick either.
Moyes has been saying he didn't like his work rate or whatever in preseason. They've already signed this other guy. What is his name? Rogers? No.
Barry?
Barry.
Yep. And Barry is very highly rated. Ted Knudsen on above average was just raving about him. He's sort of the statistical guy's favorite, right? And again,
Yeah,
you think
no
a much
Barry.
higher ceiling than Beto.
Josh, who's coming on Monday, I was just asking him, how do you feel about the transfer window? He told me, watch out for Barry. That's a great signing that Everton have made. He's essentially a very mobile, big guy who's technically good. So while Beto might start the season, Barry will make that spot his own by 2, 3, 4 weeks.
So neither becomes an option for now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Leeds is the same. They're in the market. So Pirro has been great taking penalties, but they are in the market for a striker. So again,
But Muniz might not be
short term
going.
okay, but not.
I listened to the Fulham Clash of the Correspondents. He thinks Muniz will likely stay because Jimenez is just not as mobile anymore. Jimenez is getting on and they're not really linked with anybody else. Muniz leaving to Leeds seems unlikely. They might sign somebody else, of course, but Muniz just also become a pick, I think, in that sense. But again, something you're going to be waiting for till the transfer window closes. It's not a definite one.
Yeah.
Who do you think, guys, is pickable? I think it's just Mayenda, just by the process of elimination.
Who's the Burnley striker? Fleming?
Yeah. And that also they don't know who's going to be staying. I think if it's anybody's pickable right now, Gameweek 1 is Pirro. Because even if a new striker comes in, he's done well. He was their top goal scorer last year. He's on penalties as well. So if you're looking for a 5.5 million to start the season, go with him. And there's this ceiling that Leeds that might actually be way better than people are expecting them to be. But I just think the 6 million picks and Thiago and Fulkrug are way better than the 5.5 millions
Yes.
at the moment. So I would say
Find
find the
million.
0.5 and go for either. Both are good picks.
Completely agree with you. That's about
And
it,
then
guys.
Gui.
Oh yeah,
Hello.
Gui already spoken. Gui is in a league of his own.
What was you guys were saying in that Danny was saying he's him? Like, what are the reasons? Like, he'd start alongside Mayenda or
He expects.
instead of?
The thing is, he was talking about how Gui has been linked with lots of other clubs that wanted to buy him. Clubs like Leipzig and to be their starting striker, and Chelsea decided not to because they want him for the long term, and he's generally quite highly rated by the Chelsea head coach, the scouting guy, Edwards. So
In fact, he said Barcelona were also trying to hold on to him before he decided to go to Chelsea. So
we
he's
paid the
rated very
release
high.
clause. We paid the release clause
Yeah.
because it was ridiculously low in that sense. So we think that the ceiling is there and he's potentially better than Mayenda in that sense. And also we know about the clause we spoke about, right, on Twitter. He has he has to have a minimum number of appearances or they have to pay a fee. Now Fulham didn't care about it in the case of Broja, but ultimately I think Sunderland, the fact that they made the move, they do intend to play. With Broja, there were a lot of different other things. There were injuries and things like that. Over here, I think as a clean slate, I'm quite optimistic on him.
And he did say that, he co-hosts his YouTube channel. It's co-owned by a scout, a professional scout. And there's big murmurs and general hype about Gui as a player. And Sunderland were very comfortable with the compulsorily playing minutes clause for Gui.
And as the chat mentioned, Gui is also a very hard-working player, so there might be DEFCON points there on offer as well.
And for a team like Sunderland, like they'll want a presser.
Yeah, because
In
they won't
general
have the
as
ball.
well.
They
Yeah.
generally, even in the Championship, they had a counter-attacking style. They're not a possession team. On the Premier League, you'd guess even less so.
Exactly.
I mean, I think it's regardless of whether you're bench boosting or not. I think definitely give him a thought. Unless, of course, LR made the point earlier that you don't have. But I think my approach will be you get him if your structure works out, and if by game week 2 you're feeling good that he's going to start or at least get you appearance points, just go for bench boost or just delay it, because I think the gods, FPL gods, have now given us the structure that you don't have to actually make a bench boost team. You can pick your 4 million keeper. You can pick your 4.5 million striker. When you feel they're ready to play, you just bench boost.
Yeah, exactly. You don't have to do it. You're right. And you need like 2 out of 4 good fixtures. You don't need 1, or you don't need all 4 to have good fixtures. That's the trap that we might force ourselves into with these guys. Like we might see that Steve is getting 2 defensive contribution points in all the tough fixtures, not in the easy fixtures. We might just bench boost Steve and Dubravka in tough fixtures alongside Gui having a good fixture as well. Gimme Kate is something a lot of people have pointed out as a potential bench boost. Leeds play Burnley and Sunderland play Wolves at home.
Yes.
Yeah.
With Steve, his defcon potential is higher than a Tarkowski or a Murillo, at least how it has been projected so far. So he could basically become one of those guys that gets 2 pointers every other game, or
This is
2 out of 3
what you
games.
want from your 5th defender, right?
Yeah.
Fantastic, guys. This is our longest pod yet, officially.
Really? We've never done more than 2 hours, 5 minutes ever?
I don't think so. I can remember we just did about 2 hours. I don't think we have.
I think there was a bigger achievement we had in this pod. We talked about Chris Wood for a very long time and did not make a joke. So I think that is the bigger achievement than podding for the longest time.
Yeah, man. And also, I'll tell you something about this pod. It doesn't feel like 2 hours. Like I don't feel drained out like I normally do after a 90-minute pod. It's generally as well. So I guess the wood was strong on this one.
There we go. We couldn't go without
We
it.
had to.
You had to.
So what have we got coming up now for the rest of the time?
So much.
You're talking to Baker on the weekend, right?
On
And then
Sunday,
Monday
I'll go live, 10 a.m. UK time. We're doing his draft. So I want to also chat general FPL with him as well, and a little bit of Spurs chat. It was supposed to be just a Spurs chat, but I'm like, Baker, I don't think we could get enough value out of you just doing Spurs chat. So give us your draft and we'll talk some general FPL as well. On Monday, we've got Josh Williams from Anfield App. I also told him that outside of Liverpool, I want his point of view on a little bit of City, a little bit of the new signings as well, because he's an analytics guy who pays attention to everybody. And just because we're not getting, like, on the side, we have Walsh from FPL, Arsenal journalist and a City journalist ready to come on anytime, but we just don't have enough days to do so much content because we want to do our team selection videos and the Game Week 1 pod on Tuesday as well, but we'll schedule them in due course of time as well.
Fantastic,
so
guys.
people will hear from us again on Tuesday as well. The main part.
Actually, I don't know if I should tell you guys or not. I'll hold on to that right now.
Ooh, interesting. But again, guys,
Leaving
thanks
us
a lot for watching. Do remember to hit that like button. We would like to hit 2,000 likes on this video. Do hit that subscribe button as well. 40K isn't far away. We appreciate all the love and support you've shown us in this preseason so far.
And before we end, really, man, we'd like to get you guys, get to know you guys more, get into the Discord and become a part of the community with us, because that's where we want to spend a lot more of our time as well. It keeps the pod going. Like the amount of content that we keep doing, the support that comes from your end also helps a lot, so it keeps us going, it keeps us motivated, and it's a couple of cups of coffee a month. So get in there.
Any last words, guys?
No, thank you very much. See you on Tuesday.
See you on Tuesday.
See you soon.